Still trying to
I never wanted to be a rapper. I never wanted to be one.
Hey, he's living his life.
Chick.
He's living his life. All right, you're up. Next time. Go ahead.
What am I doing? Oh.
He sounds
talk.
great.
He sounds fantastic.
How's it going, guys?
Look at that. Yes.
I got no bass in mine at all.
Former UFC
Yo,
fighter.
turn up my treble. What's that Eminem song? Where's my? I don't know. I got nothing.
How's mine? Mine all right?
You better sing something.
You got nothing.
Hey.
It's a good kind of crazy.
A little better for you, Dange?
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
Do it again.
That's my song. Oh, that's my song. That's my Abby song, man. I've been living that for a lot of years.
I wrote that with Gary Nichols.
Did you?
You remember Gary?
He was on Mercury. We're going, by the way.
I do remember the name. What song did he put out solo?
It's gonna be
That one.
Hold on, I'm trying to get to the hook.
No, his song.
That one.
But listen, his song.
Unbroken ground.
Do you even remember the words to because that's his life right now, man. The kids are always screaming, they run around the house. Da 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 da. We're barely getting by now. I can't. Come on, it's your damn song. Jump in.
Yeah, that's definitely me.
Kids are always screaming, running around the house.
Something about you, baby, loving you. It's a good kind of crazy. Come on, it's your damn song. This is like when you go up to Tim McGraw and you're like, man, I love that song. He's like, that was on my third album. I've had 27 albums. I don't remember that shit. I'm sorry.
He's a radio host.
How do I turn my vocal up in my headphones?
Over here. Hit him on number 4 over there.
Wait, you're is you turning his mic up or his headphones?
No, his volume on his headphones.
Hey,
so this is just the volume on my headphones?
Yeah.
Oh, so you control our mics?
Dude, yeah, man.
Hello.
You're way too loud.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, why am I loud?
Hello.
Is that better?
No, you're like way too loud.
Hello.
Why do I feel like they're also increasing their microphone volume?
Maybe I'll just sit back like this.
Well,
better?
I mean, you're hot right there.
Thank you.
Well, you think?
All right, we better start this thing. This is too good. This is too good.
I don't know. I think they're okay.
All right. Yeah. I'm good there.
We'll just go. I'll adjust. I'll watch the VU meters.
No clipping.
No clipping. Oh, we clip a little bit once in a while,
When you do your radio show, do you still have a producer or not anymore?
Yeah, I do have a producer. Yeah. I was the only way I was going to do it. I'm not going to do that shit.
Someone else.
Do you do that?
Changing the VU meters. No, I do it myself. I've never had a producer, ever.
So you run the VU meters and everything?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, half the time you don't turn them on. You be talking and like, oh, wait, I forgot to turn your mic on.
Abby has overloaded my VU meters plenty of times.
Oh, really?
Because our microphones, we should do the show. Let's do the show. We're going to talk about all this stuff.
We're already doing the show.
Oh, are we?
This is the
We're here
show.
to talk about nothing and everything.
That's
so there's no formal beginning to it? This just started.
Well, let me do this formal introduction here. Actually, I want to thank you 3 guys. I do. I mean, it's just a little syrupy and soft, but when I started this crazy project, it would have been easy for, especially him just to say, you're out of your mind, you're wasting your time, don't do it. I've been in radio all these years, don't do it. But he didn't do that. I wanted to do it, and I called on all 3 of you guys independently of each other to come here and do this, and you folks are kind of part of the reason I got legs. So we're still doing it. I want to say thank you to all 3 of you.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Oh, right on.
But yeah, definitely thank you.
Yeah.
No, you definitely helped me.
And you came back.
Yeah.
And you came back.
Yeah.
This is my 3rd or 4th time.
Oh, yeah. He's old school.
How many have you done now? How many shows?
This is 258.
So that's cool, right?
Yeah.
It'd be like if Abby was going to start the Abby cast. You know what I mean? It's like to do what's the number again?
258.
I mean, that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The world of adult ADHD doesn't get to 258. We get bored at 6. You know what I mean? We start.
I actually wanted to do that, like a reality show called Backstage with Abby.
Okay,
You should do it.
do it.
I got too many other things going on.
Time.
This idiot over here got me into kayak fishing.
You're welcome.
That was quick. Oh, we're gonna get there.
Wait.
I don't even know what kayak fishing is.
So hang on.
People don't.
Are we on right now? Is this on?
Yeah, this is it, dude.
How many times are you going to ask?
So hang on. So you're fishing from your
Microphone, please.
kayak. So my 20 I have a 20-year-old
Don't you
son.
want to do a formal introduction? Because
They know who this
okay,
is.
okay, 'cause you said that, and then
No, I wanted
You know
to say,
how he is over
I
here.
wanted to say thank you.
Mr. Radio host, he takes off on it.
No. They can read the titles. They know you three guys.
I like this. He's like, no. Okay, so my 20-year
Why you never say no to any guests?
So my 20-year-old son is in college, and he's been FaceTiming me from his kayak while fishing. And he's like, Dad, I just caught this bass. And he's like in a kayak, and I'm thinking he's going to fall right in, you know what I mean, with his phone. And so you're telling me that's actually a thing?
That is a thing.
Oh, okay.
It's a growing thing. A lot of people don't realize that. Yeah. Kayak fishing is just one of those, like, it was a really tight-knit group of individuals who were, like, doing something different. You know, you got all these big old bass fishermen who are in bass boats, and they're going 65 miles per hour down the
That was me.
lake. And, you know, I could see the draw there. And then somebody decided, you know what? I'm going to slow it down. And I'm going to try to make this kayak look like a bass boat, and then go out and try to fish and try to catch these fish and hopefully not flip. So, and for some unknown reason, a lot of people like that. And
Not the flipping part.
not the flipping part. You
Where
would
do
know
you,
about
so,
that, right?
so my son's catching big fish while he's doing this. But I was like, where are you going to put that fish now? I think he just holds it and throws it back in, right? You don't keep it, right?
No, it's all catch and release.
It's all about the catch and release.
You have to put it in the kayak with you. Oh.
No, you're not trying to stand up in this kayak, right?
Oh, no. We
do.
We stand up. Yeah.
In the kayak.
In a kayak. So if you think about a kayak, everybody thinks about, you know, the long, skinny, like canoe, sit-in type canoe thing.
Yeah.
It's not that. Like this thing is literally a platform that just sits flat on the water, and you can literally stand on one side or the other and not flip.
Well,
Unless you're Abby. Unless you're Abby.
That sounds like a raft.
But we're not standing on one side or the other. We're balancing in the middle.
Yeah. I mean, so
Okay.
it's all about core strength. You got to have good core strength. You want to be a kayak fisherman.
And is it really cool to, like, because my son's like FaceTiming me while he's fishing and reeling in a fish. Is that what everybody's doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. And I try to put this in perspective to other people who have actually gone out and fished, you know, between you fishing from the bank, fishing from a boat. Kayak is like more personable because you're literally in the fish's realm. Like when you catch a fish, you're bringing it up, you're getting splashed in the face, it's jumping over your kayak.
So it's combat.
Yeah, kind of. Like you basically give the fish a little bit more of a chance to kind of fight back. You know, when you're in a boat, it's like you catch a fish, you reel it up, you flip it in a boat, and that's it. Or if you're on a bank, you just reel it up on the bank. But this time, like if you got a big enough fish, sometimes the fish is pulling you in a kayak. So it's like, you know, you're really like in their zone, so to speak. And so it kind of gives like
You're in their alley, man.
yeah,
You're going at it.
Yeah,
with them.
absolutely.
You can get really up close and personal and get into places that a boat can't get into.
that too.
Okay.
Over this weekend, I just came back from Tennessee. I was in Dayton, Tennessee at a Hobie Bass Open series.
Okay.
So I'm chasing the Tournament Trail. I'm doing that this year full time. And I was in a creek literally as wide as a little wider than my kayak.
Okay.
And it was funny, though, because I caught a fish back there. A boat's not getting back there,
Got it.
you know?
So it's a different thing then.
So
Yeah.
you can compete against the guys that are in the bass boats in your kayak if you choose to. Okay, I was going to say.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have
250
live
horsepower.
Yeah, that, and we don't have live wells. So the way that the bass boats they do their whole tournament series is that they keep the fish in a live well and then they go weigh them in. It's a little bit more exciting if you're like a fan because you get to see the bass being pulled out of the live wells. You get to see them being pulled off of the scales, and everybody's like, "Oh, cool, that's a cool bass." You know, big bass, whatever. You know, in kayak fishing, we do things where you have to measure it. So it's totally off of inches, not off of weight. So you have to set the fish on a board, and normally we use these things called catch boards. And you place the fish in a certain position. It's got to be oriented right, and then you got to take a picture of it. And however many amount of inches you have, you submit that to like normally an online app, and it calculates for you, and then eventually, you know, the person who has the most amount of inches wins. So it's it's an interesting way. Like you can follow online, which is kind of cool, but there isn't like any crazy, award ceremonies and stuff. So that's the only difference I would say.
Hobie's is getting pretty. They're getting pretty big.
Well,
so this is growing. Like he said, this is growing.
Okay.
It's there's 200 guys in this tournament I was just in.
Okay.
So you're fishing against the best of the best guys. Mm-hmm. I mean, these guys should be in bass boats. I was a bass boat guy, and should we back it up and tell the story how we met? And then,
that was my next question.
Okay.
Because I didn't know you two were connected because I was hanging out with both of you independent of each other.
Yeah.
And then one of you said, "Hey, you got to get Adam and I." You said I could get Adam and I on a show together. I'm like, well, wait, how do you know Adam?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that like Abby's sort of connected to everybody, so eventually you're gonna just
I found that
fall
out.
in the web of Abby.
I found that
so,
out.
Yeah.
Thanks, Adam.
A web of Abby.
That's actually a compliment.
Yeah.
I think.
And so how many years has it been? 2, 3?
It's been about 3. No, because I was still fighting in the UFC at the time, so it was probably about 4.5 years ago.
Okay. So his wife now, Mary, reached out to me on Facebook Messenger and said, "Hey, my boyfriend at the time, his name, he's really good at singing, and I want to see him do it, but he doesn't have the confidence to get up on stage. I was wondering if you could talk to him and maybe explain to him some things, give him some info and some advice on it." And at the time, I didn't know there was a connection between her and my buddy Russ. Russ's daughter worked with her at GNC. And so I said, yeah. And I wrote her back and I said, yeah, I will. I'll give him a call. I gave him a call 2 days later. Well, him and I ended up hitting it off because we started getting off on other things, talking about fishing and hunting and stuff like that. And it was just, he called me one day and said, "Hey, you want to be best friends?" And I said, "Yep."
Wow.
It was like the Step Brothers movie.
Yeah.
You want to be best friends? Yep.
That's great.
Well, it was great. So like Abby's sort of, and so I've gotten into kayak fishing at the time, really getting into it, and I was sort of like on the last leg of my UFC career, and I think actually I finally retired. That was after I got my liver lacerated in my last fight. That was fun. So I ended up, I think we stopped talking for like maybe about a year or so, kind of here.
About 6 months.
Yeah,
He was out looking for a new liver.
and then or trying to destroy the one I got, But and then what was it? You started a company, and you and ended up being with the company that I had just got into for the oil and gas, and next thing I know, I'm getting a call from my boss. And he's out playing golf with Abby. He's like, "Hey," he's like, "I got this gay country singer who wants to talk to you." I'm like, "What?" I was like, "Gay country singer."
There's a market for that.
You have to know his boss. Too.
I was like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And then it hit me. He's like, "Yeah, this guy named Abby." I was like, "Oh crap, Abby!" So we eventually just kind of rekindled our friendship. And then he comes to me. He's like, "Hey, I see you're in kayak fishing." He's like, I want to try that out. I was like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay."
He conned me into doing it. Well, he's like, no. He started sending me messenger, like, here's a kayak. He sent me like 10 kayaks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And these kayaks, a lot of people don't realize, like, kayaks are freaking expensive. If you really dive into a lot of the companies, like there's some really big name companies out there who are really gearing a lot of their stuff towards kayak fishing now.
Okay.
And one of the big ones is Hobie. You got Jackson's and Native, and all these companies are making these kayaks now that are top of the line. They've got the best gear ever, and I think that a few of the ones I sent you were like $3,000 or $4,000, which is generally how much sort of the top of the line is. You're looking about
$5,500 now.
Yeah. So it's super expensive, and so I'm sending him all these things, and I kind of feel bad because I know he's got a boat and everything else, and then I think you're your soon-to-be wife is probably like, oh, that's the last thing you need is to get into another freaking thing. And because
she knows when. And Donna, if you're watching this, I know you know this already, so I can talk about it freely. So she knows if I am going to get into something, it is going to be, I'm going to have the best of everything, and it's going to be
just head first.
Head first. I don't dip my toe in and, you know,
and
okay.
I'm going to tell you what, he did dive in head first. I mean, for his first year, he had top of the line everything. I think I sent him a Hobie, some guy who had a Hobie for sale, and it was like,
I called him next day.
Yeah,
I bought that Hobie.
Yeah, it was a lot of money. And then we met up at Cross Creek and went out for the first time. So it was a interesting way to kind of rekindle something.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even know how to put the pedals in this damn thing.
Yeah.
When I got it. And, we're at the ramp.
And
I was like, hey, where's this go?
I don't know much about it.
I just spent a shit ton of money, but I have no idea how to use it.
Is that so? That's the big thing you guys got going on right now. Kayak fishing. Is that what? Is that the thing? Is
Your
that?
son's gonna be asking for a boat now.
We're not just fishing either. We're actually. I'm treating this like a business.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like I'm trying to do it professionally. Like I went all in. I have 8 sponsors now.
But what's the business though? Because like if you're in a bass boat, you can catch like a lot of bass if you're a good fisherman.
Yeah.
If you're on a kayak, and I know you kind of explained how you pull it out and you measure it, so you're still competing, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So
no, it's a tournament.
Are you racing down a river and catching fish
you're
at
not
the same
racing.
time?
Let's get that straight.
I'm in a kayak. I'm going down the rapids on the Yakagini. Oh, I just caught a fish too.
I can promise you this, and he will testify. You will not find me in any rapids.
I've seen it. It's not pretty.
Yeah, he was in front of me when I dumped.
Because that's kind of what kayaking's for, right? And now
again, you're thinking about a different kayak. You're thinking of whitewater.
That's like a whitewater.
Maybe
kayak.
the industry might think about changing the name of that vessel
What
from kayak to something else. You know,
I mean, it still is a kayak, but it's just they're wider. They're wider, and they're set up for fishing.
the Cadillac of kayaks.
Yeah, and it's weird. You don't sit in. You sit on top of it. So it's literally a platform. It's a
It sounds like a ghetto kayak, actually.
Well, you see these things, like you'll be surprised, like the amount of engineering that goes into it.
Right on.
Companies right now are just going
Yeah,
crazy,
I'm sure.
trying to push them out. But like with the Hobie, I forgot what the payout was, because here's the thing. Yeah, it is a business, and you get a chance to work with other companies like Abby's doing.
Right.
You work with these companies, and the companies
Well, you're
support
doing the
you.
same
You support, yeah, and you support each other. You can make money off of that.
Right.
And then, of course, it's a sort of a really it's a growing niche market. And so if you've got like a YouTube channel, there's an opportunity to really grow it, and stuff like that. But also you can make a lot of money in some of these high end tournaments, like the one he just did. What was it, like
10-5?
It was at $10,500 you can win for first place.
Damn.
So the championship, if you qualify for the championship, this year they're paying out $50,000. The first place,
which is a lot of money if you think about it for kayak fishing.
Kayak bass fishing this year is going to be $75,000, I think. So there's different tournament trails.
Okay.
Kayak bass fishing.
Yeah.
KBF. It's called KBF.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
It's like THW.
That's fantastic.
But they sent out a projection in an email, and I don't know if you got this, what it's going to be over the next 3 years. So in 2 years, it's going to be $100,000. In 3 years, 4 years, it's going to be $200,000 you're going to win.
So what if I come out in one of those just regular kayaks? Can I still participate?
You can, but I mean, he fought this for a long time, and I kept telling him,
Gotta have the right shit if you're gonna do it right.
Well, you got to what your competitors have. You got to be at that level.
Yeah, you got to have what they have.
So, but when you go to tournaments, is there one or two guys like he's on a regular kayak?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
it's those guys over there.
Yeah, you could be on a freaking
paddleboard.
You know,
raft.
you could just be on. Yeah, you could be on a raft as long as it's not powered. And you're floating. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
Your son's going to be asking you for one of these, I'm sure.
Oh, we were in Myrtle Beach 2 weeks ago. By the way, we were pier fishing. That's the one fishing you didn't mention. We were fishing off the Cherry Grove Pier and caught a lot of stuff. I like it. Now, that would be interesting because, in the ocean, you can ride a kayak too. But you would catch stuff so big, it would definitely flip your kayak, I think.
Yeah. There was, I think it was a new record catch. Somebody caught a black marlin. It was like a 600-pound black
So they're, wait. So they're already doing it, is what you're telling me.
600-pound fish.
Oh, yeah.
off of a Hobie. Now, granted, I didn't see it being pulled up. It was probably
It was
caught.
pulling him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You should see this video. This guy is literally holding on to this rod, and he's got a black marlin. It's just jumping up. It's twice the size of the
And he's in a kayak.
He's in a 14-foot kayak, and this thing's twice the size of the
Oh,
kayak.
my
Yeah.
God.
So
Yeah.
it's
That sounds too dangerous.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
it's just like anything. Like,
Look how them guys are built. They're not worried about it.
Yeah, right.
it's just like anything. Like you see fighting nowadays. Like people are starting to get kind of bored with the UFC. Like, oh, they got little pads on their hands. Now they're coming out with bare knuckle boxing.
I saw that.
which is like a huge thing.
How is that regulated? Or how's that insured? Who's going to insure that?
I don't know.
It's
They
vicious.
actually came to me and asked if I did, like, as soon as I retired, like maybe a year later.
Would you want to do that?
No, hell no. You guys are nuts. Screw that. Like, it's one thing to step in there and fight and be a sanctioned event and actually have pads on your knuckles. Man, I can't tell how many times I've broken my hand with those on and wraps and stuff like that. But
Wait a second. Now that you mention that, I will forget if I don't ask you now. What is this thing on ESPN? I think it's on ESPN, where two people are standing at a table and they're smacking each other in the face.
slap covers. So this is what I was talking about. People are getting
Who comes
bored.
up with
Have you seen this?
I have seen that.
Yeah.
They're just knocking each other out, man.
There's no weight classes, and I'm watching like
Well,
this,
obviously.
this skinny guy, like sitting at a table, and this dude who looks like the Mountain from Game of Thrones, like you're just standing there, just slapping the crap out of these guys. It's nuts. What I was saying is like people are getting bored when you get like sort of a decade into a certain sport that just come out and everybody's like into it. Remember when the UFC came out, everybody was going nuts. They were like, oh my God, these guys are nuts.
That's like the mid-90s.
Yeah, the mid 90s getting into early 2000s, it was crazy. And
They want
now-
more extreme.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
We
just
have
like
we have a
anything.
bloodlust
Yeah,
society.
Yeah, and it's strange. And so now we've got bare knuckle boxing, we've got slap fighting.
But isn't bare knuckle boxing like Fight Club? Isn't that
exactly? Yeah, except it's strictly boxing. It's not like which is actually technically worse for you because at least if you were to add grappling, wrestling, jiu-jitsu in it, you can at least like go down to the ground to avoid the brain damage. I mean, I think in the last 2 or 3 years, bare knuckle boxing, 3 people have died. And
Yeah.
you're still allowing it. It's like, and the guy came to me after maybe about a year after I retired, and he was like, "Hey, Adam," he's like, "You want to make some money?" I hit block. I was like, "No, unless you're paying an exorbitant amount of money, I am not getting in there because it's still dumb." Could you imagine hitting somebody in a freaking skull? Like, because that's majority what happens when you're taught to fight, especially bare knuckle. You put your head down. So if they hit your forehead, it's not going to hurt quite as much, and it's going to hurt them more, and they're not going to want to hit you. So it's like, no, screw that. I don't want to be a part of that.
Humans are funny, man.
Well, that's a thing.
No inclination to
Yeah,
that
they just want the next crazy thing. I guarantee you, probably 10 years from now, we're going to have like death fights in like freaking prisons.
Well,
and
look
stuff.
back at the Viking
I
era.
guarantee
The Viking
you.
eras. You know,
Yeah.
that's
Bloodlust.
Rome and the Romans, and
They were just
they made a spectacle of fighting,
Yeah,
sparring.
throwing them to the tigers, right?
Thor versus Hulk.
The lion, throw them to the lions.
they were just so bored back then. There was nothing else to do. It's like at least we got Facebook and stuff to kind of keep us busy. TikTok.
The slapping in a weird way weirds me out more than the bare knuckle boxing because you're just standing there, no hands
You
up.
know it's coming.
Yeah. And it's
if I'm bare knuckling with you, at least I can try. You know, I just gotta stand there and let you just knock my
you
face
just
off.
bite down. You know, and it's funny. These guys will chalk up their hands to make it more exaggerated. When they slap you, it's just like there's smoke, and then you're watching this guy literally getting caught by 3 other people behind him because he's knocked out.
Oh yeah, he's just cold. And like, what's the game plan on that? Like, all right, I'm on defense, or I'm getting smacked first. Well, here's what you do: you clench your teeth, you have a diaper on, right? Yeah, that's good. That's good. You know, I don't know. What do you do?
They don't wear diapers.
I don't understand that either, though. Like, do you flip a coin to see who slaps the
That's you're like, do you want to receive or you want to kick off? I'll kick off.
Yeah.
And you guys are big guys, so let's say you have a smaller guy that he gets to smack you first. Like, it's still gonna hurt.
Oh,
you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, nobody likes
the
getting
ear
smacked in the
canals
face.
there. I mean, like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, just
Oh, so I had and this is even just strictly boxing. I was sparring a friend of mine, really good boxer. We had big gloves on. He ended up hitting my ear and busting my eardrum. Like there was just a hole. Anytime I went, swimming, I would go on vacation, love to snorkel. Every time I went snorkeling, man, I got a miserable ear infection for like 3 weeks. And so eventually I had to go in and get fixed. And that was a miserable surgery.
Wow.
They had to take like a piece of skin from like behind my head and like graft it onto the eardrum and allow it to heal. So yeah, like slapping, could you imagine? Like that's a constant
You
thing.
could have just put earwax or the wax for your ears so you don't get anything in your ear.
Yeah, I was wondering too. Like,
I
is there
could
something
do
you
that,
could
like-
do before the slap, like sneak and have some cotton swabs in your ears? That's not helping that much, though, right?
I mean, do as many
I just
neck
don't-
exercises.
I just don't understand that.
women do that sport. I saw women smacking each other on there.
Oh yeah,
Oh really? No, I didn't see that.
yeah, knocking the shit out of each other.
I'm like, what? Like, I mean, I thought they were women. They said they were women
What does your wife do? She smacks the shit out of people.
for money.
So she wears the pants. She makes the decision.
She's a pro smacker.
Hey, I have a question about fishing. When you go into these tournaments, what is like I play golf, and when you play something, that let's make sure they're not cheating over here, fluffing the ball. I've always wondered, because I watch Bassmasters every now and then. How do you cheat at fishing? Like if someone or what do you because you got to police each other a little bit, right? Like
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you always have Karens out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Male Karens, right?
Well, what I mean is, like, how would you
Kevin's.
cheat, though? Would you, like, dump,
10.
like, 10 bass right under your boat when nobody's looking and then throw your finger, oh, yeah! You know,
I mean that would be the only way I could think that you could cheat is like go catch fish and put them in a bag or
That's what they do. So they create
Like a
these-
net.
Really?
tie them to a dock.
They create. They're called fish crates, and so a few people have actually found them. The guys will go out there and they'll catch them over a week span or whatever big ones that they have. They'll sink a crate and they'll put like a little marker up that they would only know would be the marker.
like that bush. Oh,
And
yeah,
then-
bush over there coming out of the...
and then they'll go over. They'll pull those fish out and put them in a live well.
Humans will cheat at anything.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you get enough money in it.
Yeah,
It doesn't
like you were
matter.
saying, the pot's getting bigger. That fishing well, cheating crate's getting bigger, too, buddy.
Yep.
What about like technology? Like when you go out, sonar and like you look down, like
well, ask Abby, 'cause
isn't
he's
there
got-
stuff like that where you can look down, like there's sonar and you look down to
okay, well let me tell you
see
something.
him swimming down there.
Well, by the time he tells you all this stuff, I'm going to grab a beer.
I want
yeah.
the scoop
I'm going
here.
to go get something to eat.
So I have what's called Live Scope, and it is real time fish swimming right in front of you. Like
It's a video game, basically.
I can literally turn my handle on my Live Scope and look to pan. Like say if I'm going along docks and I want to look, I don't want to waste time fishing that dock if I don't know there's fish there. I turn my Live Scope on and look pan underneath the
So that's
dock,
so that's what I'm
and they'll
talking
show
about.
me if there's fish there.
So I'm guessing, though, that's like industry standard, though, right? Everyone has it.
And if you're tournament fishing, it's pretty much he just broke down. He's getting it.
So wait.
Mary's watching this.
So you've been competing without
Hey,
that.
Mary, are you familiar
Yeah.
with that purchase?
Yeah, I've been competing on.
I mean, Mary, he got it sponsored.
he's drunk. He's drunk.
He's buying it secondhand. They gave it to him. They just gave it to him.
Yeah.
Is there any type of fishing that's not allowed? Like if you're in the Bassmasters,
Yeah, that was
is
my
allowed,
question.
or-
Like,
They're talking about putting that in because that is pretty. when you look into a live scoop, it's pretty expensive. I think
Babe Winkleman didn't need that shit.
Bill Dance.
Dave Winkleman's a liar. He had top of the state art of sonar back then.
Yeah. Well, it's super expensive, and so like especially like the entry level tournaments and stuff that they have going on for people. I think it's super important that people get into it and at least enjoy it, because then they're going to want to do it again and again.
Right.
It's going to be hard to compete against guys who are out there with $2,000 graphs and, another $1,500 in a transducer.
$2,000 graphs. Where the hell are they getting their graphs at? Tell me.
Well, I mean, so it's like, yeah, it's kind of hard. If you really want to get into it and compete well, it's like you kind of really
got to bite down hard.
I mean, I got damn near 16 grand in this kayak.
Oh, and a kayak?
I swear to God, if Mary's watching this right now, I'm never going fishing again.
No, that's here's the thing though. A lot of that I have received from sponsors.
I understand.
So
I get it.
I didn't physically pay that, but that's what there's 15, 16 grand.
Damn.
They had one. I just did the Bassmaster Classic for one of my sponsors. I went down and worked their booth and everything. They had 2 kayaks in the booth for sale that was completely set up.
Okay.
Tournament ready. They were selling for 23, 24 grand.
Oh.
I watched the guy buy one. He bought the $24,000 one.
Now, is the guy that buys that really going to go compete now, or he just wants to go have fun? And
no, he's already been kayak fishing.
Okay.
He is going up to the next level. He wants. If you're fishing these, like the one I just did was the Hobie BOS. I got another Hobie one in New Hampshire 2 weeks from now. And then I go to St. Clair in Michigan after that in July. That's a KBF event. So Hobie's all pedal. You're only allowed manual power, pedal or paddle. And then KBF, you can do both. You can use your motor, which we both have torpedoes on the back of our kayaks, which is a 3.
Wait, you got a kayak with a motor on it?
Well, it's an electric motor. So it ties into a battery.
But Tesla built it for you?
I was going to say.
Elon Musk out there.
Yeah, right.
But it literally puts a weight behind my kayak.
Oh, yeah. Electric motors are some bitches, man.
Mine is 3 horsepower, so it pushes me about 6 miles an hour.
Okay.
That's pretty quick on a kayak.
We have to come to terms to the simple fact that we got out of bass boats to get into kayaks just to make the kayaks like bass boats. So
it sounds like it.
That's all it is. It's like we're literally just trying to throw
much
crap on this
but the fishing experience sounds like it's better than the kayak, because
it definitely is.
Because you're like with there, you're giving the fish almost a sporting chance. Yeah. You're in their environment,
now,
right?
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. It's a good point that Abby brought up when we were first talking about getting into kayak fishing. It's not as saturated. When you're talking about bass boats, there are literally thousands and thousands of guys who are in it, who are trying to make it. They're constantly, talking to companies and getting
one of those
sponsors
guys
and stuff like that. But kayak fishing is still really tight niched. Like, you have an opportunity to really grow personally in this sport because it's still in its growing phase. It's like getting into UFC in the early 2000s.
Okay.
So,
yeah, like for me, like fishing has been my dream since I was 9 years old.
Right.
That was the original dream, to be a pro fisherman,
to compete.
I woke up. If anybody,
so you were watching Babe Winkleman.
I was watching Bill Dance, Roland Martin, Jimmy Houston, all those guys. I'd wake up on Saturday and Sunday morning early so I could watch those guys because we didn't have DVRs back then, So I would literally, that song Luke Bryan wrote called Bill Dance. I don't know if
I didn't.
I know loving, fishing, hunting every day.
No, he has a song called, listen to it, it's called Bill Dance.
Okay.
And it talks about, Bill Dance teaching him how to fish, and he taught me how to fish. Like,
wow.
Watching TV, like how to tie knots, how to, when bass aren't biting, this another technique to try. Singing got in the way of that dream. I ran into singing, for me, was something that happened by accident.
Right.
And
it's a good accident, huh?
Well, it was good. Yeah.
It's a very good accident.
It put me on a platform where I could go do this and treat it like a business.
Exactly.
And, and we were talking about social media. It's not about fishing either. It's, you don't have to win tournaments. You got to be relevant, but you got to be in the top 100, to be relevant. but you don't have to win. It's about your presence.
Yeah, exposure.
And just like what you're doing with your social media, you have stepped it up a ton.
Yeah, I guess.
You know it because
I know it works.
being relevant is
Yeah.
the name of the game. Staying in people's faces, understanding what you
Consistency,
do.
I think. Consistency is the kind of thing. He actually taught me that.
And
about social media in general.
Him and I just talked about that today, about being consistent. Like I left Tuesday, and our other buddy Coy, there's three of us that room together all the time when we go on these tournaments. I've been gone since Tuesday. I just got back last night early in the morning. So, or this morning, about 1 o'clock in the morning. So we were just talking, like, if I didn't have that motor you're allowed to use it for pre-fishing, then the 2 tournament days you have to pedal.
Okay.
I'd have been shot. I mean, I was shot. I'm fishing 10, 11 hours a day practicing.
Right.
And then you come back.
So you're saying it's a lot of exercise?
It's a lot of exercise. It's physically wears you down. You're sitting. So you got to remind yourself, and we talk about this all the time, staying hydrated.
Yeah.
I'd literally start going to a trainer to train 3 days a week to help me with my core because it's so needed. He doesn't have to worry about it.
But isn't that sounds like so much more fun to me, though. I mean, that adds a whole other dimension of fishing to me.
It is. It really, like, when I first started doing it, I remember reaching back for a rod. I was like, God damn, I pulled a muscle in my rib.
But here's the thing that
I'm sitting there for like 3 minutes. I can't fish because I got like.
I do make fun of him a lot. Like half of the time, he's got these glasses, what he calls his readers on, and he's like trying to tie knots.
Hey,
and
be
stuff.
nice now, man. We're old.
I'm sorry.
Hey, you've got me intrigued about this a little more now. So I see that, it's an opportunity to get some exercise while you're fishing, to be down closer to the water than you are in a boat. The other thing about kayak fishing is that, like you mentioned it earlier, you can really, like, you could be in the ocean, you could be in a lake, you could be in a river, you could be in a little stream all of a sudden now, because that fits places, like you said, that boats don't fish in.
I was fishing 2 of the places yesterday that I caught pretty big fish were as wide as this room.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. And I went back a long way, and I just worked my way slowly back through. But that's places boat, like, for instance, there was two laydowns I had to get around that trees were in the water, but this side was open. So I went around them. A bass boat couldn't do that. So now I'm getting back to fish that are unpressured.
Right.
They're not seeing, lures every day.
They didn't see you coming.
Yeah. And
how deep, like, can you get into? You can get into pretty shallow water in that too, right?
I was in 10 inches of water.
Oh my God.
10 inches?
Here's the thing, like kayak fishing too adds a sense of physicality to fishing.
Right.
Like it's something that,
it's not for everybody. It's not.
Right. Like if you're a bigger guy and, you just like to sit, not that I'm talking like big guy. I'm talking like, guy who does nothing but drink beer and whatever, kayak fishing is not going to be made for them because it is
it's aerobic.
Sense. Yeah. And that's one of the things that really drew me to it because I was watching the people who really, really physically worked hard at it. Like, I'm watching guys literally drag their kayaks over rocks, getting around, like, laydowns and things like that, literally getting outside their kayak, pulling it through. I mean, it's a lot of work. If you've ever tried to pull, like, a 200-pound kayak in, like, knee-deep mud.
I've done it with a canoe.
Yeah.
It was some fun.
Yeah. Was that the Ohio or something?
I did that as a kid. I used to go to Maine with my family, and my father thought it was fantastic to take a canoe on these streams, and then it would dry up that summer, and we'd be carrying the canoe more than we'd be canoeing.
Oh yeah,
fucking brutal. No,
well, it's that sense, and then what's cool is that you take that physicality, and now you get a chance to, number one, do it, but also do it in a competitive setting,
right.
So I think both me and Abby, we're naturally big competitors. We got to have some sort of competition in our life because for me personally, I've got to compete. I have to.
This will keep you from getting back in the ring.
Yeah, exactly. I tell Barry that. I was like, hey, it's either fishing or fighting. Pick one.
Are you still doing the Thirsty Outdoorsman?
A little bit here and there.
Okay.
I got to contact Instagram. Instagram kind of shut us off a little bit.
Wait, what?
Weird. Well, it was one that they put it. I don't know if it was
it was on a roll.
Yeah, it was on a roll. But then they put something out that if your video has guns in it,
God.
killing animals, stuff like that, they'll throw an algorithm on it and they'll limit your views. And so a lot of our views were limited. We were down to we were only getting 40 likes a post, and barely anybody was
People weren't
viewing
seeing
our stuff.
it. Yeah, they weren't seeing it.
Yeah, it's in order to we put a post out like this, and this is another topic, but Instagram created that algorithm that if it automatically it automatically keeps you from seeing videos like that. But if you want to see them, you have to go into your own account settings and set up
opt in or whatever.
and or opt out of that filter.
Got it.
And then you'd be able to
It's too
see
much
their
work.
stuff.
No one's going to do it.
Yeah, and everybody just gets
Probably
on. Oh,
nobody
cool.
knows how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows how to go in there and change all the filters and everything?
Yeah, and there was talks of them limiting fishing too. If that was a case, like us harming fish.
So where's your main place then? YouTube, Facebook. Where's your main place to share what you're doing?
I mean, it is Instagram. Instagram is where you make your business. Instagram, and then YouTube. YouTube is tough. YouTube,
Tough to grow a YouTube channel. Very difficult.
Yes,
Organically, anyways.
organically, right? And it's like he was talking about before. It's constant content. Mm-hmm. You have to at least post once a day, maybe once every other day, and it's so hard, especially if you're like me, who's got freaking twins at home now and stuff like that, to get out and actually create content.
Yeah,
it's tough. But Instagram and YouTube are where you make it. Facebook has sort of thing. You're only subject to your friends and people who like your page. That's basically about it. But Instagram and YouTube, man, that's where it's at.
interesting.
So that's where you'll get more people that aren't already following you. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And I was talking about, you don't have to win tournaments. You just have to be consistent.
Right.
They care about how are you going to, as a partner with them. And I don't like calling them sponsors. I like calling them partners.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's a partnership. You're doing stuff for them. They're helping you in the fishing world because that stuff is expensive. Mm-hmm. If I didn't have the Z-Man, the Abu Garcia, the Yeti, all those, I'd never be able to do the stuff.
For sure.
It's thousands of dollars to get into it the way we're doing it. And so what you're doing is it's a partnership. You're helping them spread the word about them. Like, talking about their product and everything. That's what they care about.
How much exposure are you giving them is what they want to see. And that's going to be based on your exposure.
And are you good at selling it?
Yeah, for sure. Right.
So, Adam's good at talking.
Sounds like a lot of work to me.
It is. But let's be honest here. I mean, if you want to succeed in something,
no doubt.
It's work.
No doubt.
Here's the thing, getting them to support you too is sort of like a competitive, you're
it's
sort
a
of
game.
It is, and it's a competition
Checkers.
on yourself. It's a competition on other people. You it's crazy to see. He's sponsored by freaking Z-Man, one of the best bait companies in the world.
Right.
And that's sort of your, I don't want to say entitlement, but that's sort of your
a badge.
Yeah,
a badge of
exactly.
honor.
Badge.
Exactly.
Good word. Weeblo. It's my Weeblo.
Your Weeblo's your Weeblo's neckerchief and your neckerchief slide, right?
Well, look, I'll give you an example. His influence. I never heard of Z-Man, but I have now, thanks to you, man.
Exactly.
What does he do exactly?
Well, Z-Man's a company.
Okay. I think I had his last album.
So I bet you if you ask your son what Z-Man is,
It wasn't
Right,
played.
nice.
It's awesome.
It wasn't played.
Yeah.
We had it in a light rotation.
Yeah. They choked the algorithm
Now
down
you don't feel bad.
10 spins a week.
Now you don't feel bad, Abby.
We're gonna play you at 3:95 or 3:59 a.m. when no one is listening.
That's the worst.
And 3 times in the next hour.
Yeah.
You have this insane, if I remember correctly, you got this insane fascination with snakes. You have no fear of snakes, right? You have no fear of snakes, which is to me is freaking horrifying.
Yeah.
Wait,
Listen to this. He has no fear of snakes.
Well, hang on. So actually, snakes, I'm I don't want to get bit by one.
Right.
But if I see one on land, I'm not terrified. But snakes in water, if I'm in a kayak and there's a snake come for me, That might be a cardiac arrest right there. And do you encounter that a lot? I just asked my son that the other day because he's out in the lake in his kayak. I go, you ever seen any snakes? He goes, yeah, they're in the water. So I'm like, oh, God, I'm out.
This idiot over here, he'll send me pictures of him holding
Right.
blood dripping down. He's like,
Right.
I said,
you sent me one like that too, like 2 years ago. I'm like,
I-
what are you doing?
yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
you asshole! Put the snake down. It doesn't obviously want to be touched.
Obviously not.
Like,
And water snakes are poisonous.
Yeah, well,
Moccasins.
Moccasins. So
They're all water moccasins
does
to me.
Tennessee have moccasins?
yeah.
Did they?
Oh,
So
yeah.
there's no. Oh, I'm going to back you up here for 1 second. Something I didn't know: Tennessee has scorpions.
Oh, get out of here.
The
Over on the Smoky Mountainside?
The Airbnb that we stayed in Dayton. Russell, the guy we're staying with, comes down and he goes, "Hey, man, there's a scorpion in my bathtub." I said, "What?"
Yeah. One time, so I grew up in Memphis,
Yeah,
Tennessee.
That's not going to work.
That's
Yeah,
yours?
good. I sent it to him.
Yeah,
I sent it to him.
that was a scorpion.
Yeah,
He
right
won't.
Yeah.
One time as a kid, we were camping in the Smoky Mountains, and there was one outside
He
our
almost
tent.
said we were
I had
smoking.
something.
Smoky. The
Freudian slip
Smoky
or not.
Willie Nelson Mountains. Yeah,
Continue.
scorpions. No, that's it. No, I saw a scorpion.
That was like an
You
open-ended joke.
got them all flustered over there.
I saw a scorpion one time, but they're not all over the
They're
place.
tiny,
in
aren't
Tennessee.
they? Small or kind of?
Those ones.
That
in
was actually a
Tennessee-
big one.
Are they usually black? Like I've seen black ones too.
That-
Well,
that was
ask
like
Mr. Reptile over here because
So that was a.
he got all geeked out when I told him about this.
Did you pick it up by hand, by the way?
Well, no, I wasn't there.
Oh, he would have.
I probably would have. I would have been like, "Hey, Abby, check this out."
Yeah.
No, but that was a they
nuts.
called it a stripeless scorpion or something. I
That's
think that's what
insane.
they called it. But yeah, it's
He's giving me the facts. Like he's reading it off like verbatim of the thing. I was like, "Yeah, man, I don't care." I said,
Well, when
it
I was-
needed to die. Russell didn't kill it. I said, "I'll be the idiot when I get home and I open up my bag later and I'm sitting there and a damn thing comes flying out of my bag."
Well, that
That would scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Bringing it home on a plane with you.
I agree.
Well, I wasn't. We were driving,
Oh, well.
so now the
That's
things
even
in my-
worse.
the vehicle too.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
But, just like how people like the whole slap fighting thing, I like things that are able to hurt or kill humans
Naturally.
Like
Your
yeah.
fists.
Yeah.
I've already warned him. I said, if you ever get the bright idea, like this genius idea to like scare me with a snake, I said, I will go UFC on your ass.
So
We'll see a side of Abby we've never seen before.
if Abby turns around and I'm like stretching, warming up, like
Yeah.
okay, getting ready, he knows I got a snake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get that, man.
It will be the fight of his life.
You just see one and you just pick it up.
Yeah, I surprised.
Who does that?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people.
So he's on a pipeline the other day, or this a couple weeks ago, they were on a pipeline. The guy got bit by a freaking copperhead. Like,
just
it
hit
was-
his boot.
It was just in his boot, Okay, so he goes, "Where's it at?" And he goes, "Well, it went back down into the thing." He goes searching for it.
Yeah, I just wanted to see. I wanted a confirmation. I've never actually seen a copperhead in real life, so as much.
Did
as
you
I do
fall
like
when you
snakes.
were a kid and hit your head or something?
bit.
man?
No, it's called getting punched in the head.
Well, that too. I fought in the UFC and got my ass kicked quite a bit. But no, that's a lot of people don't know this. When I first came up in this area, I was trying to play college football, and the college I was going
Where are you from in this area?
well, I'm
not.
actually not originally. I'm
Maryland.
from Southern Maryland. Yeah.
Okay.
So I came up here. That's what originally brought me up. So I was trying to be a big fish in a little pond. I went up to Beaver Falls to play at Geneva College.
Okay.
And so I went and played at Geneva College. I ended up tearing my ACL on a football field. But while I was going, I was there for biology because I liked it. I wanted to help out, be a part of the Save the Bay Foundation, which is a foundation for the Chesapeake Bay and restoring it and stuff like that. So I find like anything outdoors, like animals and stuff like that, was something I really enjoyed.
Sure.
And to this day, I have not caught a venomous snake. So that's why I was kind of curious and I wanted to try to catch one.
Go ahead and give him the elevator pitch you gave me yesterday.
Oh yeah, so I have this great idea.
Who does that?
Just wait on this one here.
So a great idea. And I was like, hey, Abby, you're looking to try to create views, try to build content. All right, so here's what we do. We go up to Tionesta, Pennsylvania. We go ahead and fish the Allegheny. Have a great day, catch a smallmouth on a river out of the kayak. Wonderful. And then we do something crazy. We get with this lady who's been trying to get me up there to do rattlesnake hunting. And then when you do rattlesnake hunt, we search and kind of look for these venomous reptiles. You catch them, you get a chance to milk them, make anti-venom, and then you eat them. And I said, Abby, think about the amount of people who would be so interested in seeing that video. And for some unknown reason, he shot it down. I don't know why.
You go fishing with this guy?
If he would have told me that in person, I'd probably punch him in the face.
I don't. Would you guys watch that if Abby was out there trying to catch?
I would for the humor alone. I'd watch
Yes,
it.
Yeah,
exactly.
sure.
I have watched shows where they're catching snakes. It is kind of like it does, and when you're safely on your couch.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
I love,
I'm intrigued from
But-
my couch.
Yeah, exactly. Looking on my phone, oh, that's a big snake. Wow. But I fished the FLW Open, which is in Okeechobee.
Okay.
In the Everglades, where they're having this freaking super snake problem.
Yeah, and you weren't
Okay.
worried being down there?
Oh, let me tell you what the boat guy said to me. So we're in, they call it the hayfields. It's as wide as your boat, and you're going down. You're pitching into the reeds. You got a heavy weight on with a creature bait, and you're pitching into the weeds for bass. I'm looking. I'm like, God damn it! It's odd that log's laying like that. I'm like, what? I'm gonna pitch my. It wasn't a log. It was a snake. And I got pictures of this thing. Okay, it was like 10, 12 foot long. It was a water moccasin, about that big around.
Wow.
Okay. And the guy, I don't know this guy, so I'm going to call him an idiot. Okay. Because that's what he was. He goes up, and the snake's like from me to the end of the table away.
Okay.
Okay. Like right on the other side.
Okay.
He starts poking at it with his,
With
his
a
rod.
stick.
With his fishing rod.
Oh, God.
I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh man, did you ever see one of these things? How mean they are? I was like,
Yeah, that's what
No.
you want to hear.
and I don't want to see that.
That's what you want to hear.
I don't. And he goes, well, listen, so you're afraid to say? I said, what gave you that idea? So then he proceeds to tell me that, and this is true because I've heard this. Then he proceeds to tell me, he goes, well, listen, I'm not going to freak you out or anything. He said, but there's a chance that those moccasins like to come up on the back of the boat, like on the back end because it's warm there, the fiberglass in the motor, and they'll lay on there. I said, I'm going to tell you right now. If one of those snakes, I look down and see one of those snakes on the back of the boat, you're going to have a real big problem with a 6'4", 260 guy.
Dude, that'd be horrifying.
Isn't that why you carry a pistol in case a 10-foot moccasin crawls up on the back of your boat?
So I was fishing with my buddy, Matt. He actually is a pro fisherman. And he goes, hey, you want to come out and practice with me? I was down there a couple days ahead of time. I said, yeah, it'd be great. We didn't see any snakes that day. The next day he called me and goes, dude, I saw one of those super snakes.
a super snake.
It's a boa constrictor with combined, they breed with a rock python. And they call
It
them
just
the
doesn't
super
sound good.
snake. No, because you know why? They get 20 feet long to 22 feet long. Okay. Their teeth are backwards. So as they're eating, it's pulling it in. You know? Yeah. Do yourself a favor and Google a rock python.
Well, what would possess you to go into the Everglades? I mean, you gotta love fish, man. I mean, like
I
just
do.
I know.
Don't
but
get me wrong. I'm intrigued by these damn things. But he said, so his boat's almost
From the couch.
21 and a half feet long. Okay. He said that thing was as big as a basketball round and was almost as long as his boat, stretched out on the reeds. Because they get up on top of the reeds, the sun himself.
One time on Froggy, I did a topic like, have you ever run across a snake? And people called with just horrifying stories.
Well-
like we moved a log and the snakes all started chasing me and my kids across the field. I'm like, that was one of them. It's still in my brain. It was like 10 years ago I heard the story. I'm like,
snakes were-
never
Wait a second.
move a log. You know what I mean?
You posted a video of that.
No,
And
so
your freaking neighbors.
No, you did.
wood
Yeah, you
pile.
were trying to shoot it or something.
that's a different story. So I live in a plan, and my yard's almost an acre. And my next door neighbor at the back of the yard, he has a fire pit, and he has a big log pile with a tarp over it.
I remember this when I played at your house.
Yes.
I was like,
That's harmless.
He's like, you want to get down and see?
Nothing's going to be there.
They're going to lift up the cover. I was like, I'm going to stay here.
Every time he opens that, because I guess during the day, these snakes go up in that under that tarp, and it's nice and warm for them. Every time, like, he'll go, you guys want to see some snakes? And everybody, like, will wander over there. He pulls that tarp, man, it is a show, because there'll be 6, 7 big snakes. He claims... He's like you, though. He just picks them up by the tail and lays them in the grass behind or the field behind our house. And
let the kids play
kids are
put them in the
squealing.
fire.
Oh, it's terrifying.
Put them in the fire.
He's like, they're not. But here's what I get, and I'm guessing you're like this, too. He's like, oh, they're not poisonous. I can tell. I can't tell, man.
Yeah.
You can tell by their head.
Yeah, you definitely have to know your snake species. Here's the thing. I don't like people who, like, just kill snakes for random reasons
With a shovel.
Yeah, with that, like, it's like, holy crap, you just killed a black snake. That black snake eats like 30 mice a year, so they keep things sort of in check.
Yeah.
And
go ahead and check those out there.
That was primarily,
dude.
Can you make those pictures show up there in the?
Go ahead and look at that right there.
That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Oh my God!
They're paying people in the Everglades to they pay them $500 to capture them.
There's a show about that.
Yeah,
I've seen that show where they go out.
I'm surprised you're not down there trying to make some money.
I should. Between that and the iguanas,
well, it's like in Pennsylvania, like when there's too many deer, they're like, "Hey, hunt a little longer" or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think in Florida, they're like, "Man, you know what? Go ahead and shoot some snakes. It's all right." We got too many.
Yeah, they constantly hunt them down there, and then the iguanas are getting so bad that they're doing that as well. So that's another thing.
Have you ever heard about like the pig hunts they had down in Texas? That I heard they go up in helicopters.
Hell yeah!
Is that a legal thing to do?
Yeah,
right,
buddy.
Yeah. You know about that?
Yeah, I would love to do that.
I actually shot one in California when I was out there hunting blacktail.
Hunting? What is it?
Blacktail deer. So I
it
killed my blacktail. It was a.
What do they call those pigs? Boars?
Javelinas. Yeah. And
Razorbacks.
Razorbacks, yeah. That's like more Arkansas.
Sometimes they're just wild hogs or,
Yeah. It was wild pigs, and I killed mine with a bow. And it was the first pig I ever killed. So it's actually on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube. And
when those things are real big, they're scary.
Yeah, that pig I killed was probably about 100.
There was a movie, right?
What was the movie where they threw the guy and all the pigs tore him apart? Was
Hannibal or something?
Yeah, it was like Hannibal Lecter. Remember?
Yeah.
I still have nightmares about that.
That is true.
They'll eat everything.
Yeah. They'll eat everything except teeth.
Yeah,
except teeth.
Yeah. So if you're going to kill somebody, that's what they
Huh.
That,
FBI just put you on a list. Interesting.
Boars,
Death by pigs.
Yeah, but Rogan, I think, said that he was up on a helicopter, or maybe it was Rogan or somebody, celebrity said they were, first time he ever did it, he went up in a helicopter and they got this gun and they were just out there.
That was Rogan.
Like
Ted Nugent.
Fishing, fishing the barrel. Yeah, boom, 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 boom.
And
let's be honest, it's pretty hard to hit him.
I would think.
Move a pig.
It's sort of the experience.
A moving pig from a helicopter.
If going back to that competing thing, that's what it's about. Can you hit this moving target while you're in the air flying?
Now, they eat those pigs?
Oh yeah.
So
you could eat it, but majority of what they're doing is sort of just population control.
Yeah.
And they're getting so rampant down south that they're destroying crops and things like that.
They're very destructive.
Yeah.
The guy showed me like fields, like farmer fields, what they do to them. Like, it's crazy, like, because they run in packs. Mm-hmm. There'll be like 20, 30 pigs in a pack.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe the damage they do in like an hour.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how much they dig up. And
if you get a chance, it's sort of sadistic, but if you go and you YouTube tannerite and pigs, you'll get to watch guys blow up pigs with tannerite. It's like they literally have
kind of sadistic.
They were
just kind of.
they'll sit
under the guise of population control. Bill Gates, I hope you're not listening.
they'll set all these like sort of corn plots or whatever, and these pigs will all come in, and a lot of time it'll be at night, sometimes near the afternoon or whatever, and they'll have tannerite set up in the middle. And tannerite only explodes using the velocity of the bullet. It doesn't explode off of like fire or a spark or anything like that. So these guys will sit off about 200 yards, and when these pigs all come in, they'll wait until the majority of them are all into a pack, and then they'll shoot off, and you're seeing pigs literally fly. I mean, I'm not kidding you, like hundreds of yards in the air.
You're going to look it up.
Yeah,
I'm sure as hell going to.
Right now, everybody's getting like, on their smart TV. They're looking, let me look at this, whatever. But yeah, it's sort of it's interesting, but it's important, and like around here, we haven't had much of that problem. We do every once in a while have like wild pigs that will get out, or pigs that will get out and they'll become feral.
Yeah.
And when the pigs become feral, then they'll start reproducing, and then that's when you get sort of your boars and things like that. They sort of turn into this little, almost like a different creature. And they can be very destructive as well. So like, I think the closest that we are to possibly running into a wild hog is down probably south in Ohio.
Okay.
I know Kentucky that they have them. So they're making their way up, and I guarantee you probably like 10, 20 years we're probably gonna have wild hogs here. So
just like we didn't have coyotes at one point.
Yep.
I was gonna bring that up because like coyotes, if you go on the gaming commission, you can hunt those all year, right? You can just shoot as much as you want.
You can use ARs, you can use many high-powered rifles, pistols, whatever you want. You
on
can
a coyote.
Yep.
So if I saw one in my backyard, I could just go shoot it.
Absolutely. Yeah. They actually
360.
prefer you do that. So
24/7, 360.
Isn't that something?
Really?
They've basically
365.
deemed, we got too many of those.
I killed my first coyote last year in deer season. Now, it wasn't really that great of a kill. I was kind of feeling bad. I think this one was hurt, crawled underneath the log. I was walking with a bow, and I walked up to about 10 yards, and it was sitting there, looked back at me. I was like, son of a bitch. I was like, all right, I'm going to put you out of your misery. Drew back and killed it. But there's, where I live in Washington County,
right?
If you go out right before it gets dark, you'll hear him off in the distance.
You can hear him howling.
One will start to howl, and then all of a sudden another one will start to howl. Then all of a sudden,
And they kill dogs and stuff, right?
They kill dogs, cats, it's.
Now, is a coyote a form of dog? Or is
It's
it a
actually the
wolf
most
or-
natural form of dog. I read somewhere that all domesticated dogs originate from coyotes, including wolves. Coyotes was sort of one of the most natural canines out there. So
It's just they got unbridled attack mode.
Well, if you go back and do Indian, like I love like history stuff like that, but Indians, the coyote were like sacred, and probably because of the way they hunt. A coyote's a really good hunter.
Okay.
Well,
So-
with the packs, it's an interesting thing. Now, Joe Rogan brought this up in one of his podcasts. I don't want to bring his name on here, but
what's wrong
anyways,
with that? Why not?
Whatever.
Why not? If it wasn't for Joe, we wouldn't be doing this probably. Honestly.
But he said that when you do kill a coyote, and this is strange. This is probably one of the big reasons why they're so populated today, is that when you kill a coyote from a pack, they have a roll call every night. When one doesn't come back as a roll call, immediately the females will go into heat to sort of replenish the herd or replenish the pack.
Okay.
And then I don't know if that's true or not, and how if there's a certain time of the year that happens, but that's supposedly what happens. And I could see that, because when I killed that coyote that night, I never heard so many coyotes in my life. Like they surrounded my property. It was insane. So yeah, I could believe it. And
I wonder if they attack humans very often.
No,
Because they're in packs, so if you're just one guy,
they're very skittish. They're
Okay.
like, it's surprising if you actually see one. Like
Really?
literally, they're
Okay.
Their nose is really the smell. They use the wind in their favor. I've been hunting and had them all around me. Literally.
What?
I've sent videos of like sound clips to Donna. She goes, "Where you need to get out of there. Like there'd be that many of them, you know. And
but they don't attack you though, you know.
No, they'll attack your animals, you know, your small dogs and things like that.
They don't want humans,
you know. No, not really. I mean, I couldn't say that for sure. If you're injured out in the middle of the woods and you're crawling around, I can't say that for sure. But you know, a lot of people don't realize that coyotes are really small. Like they're a small German Shepherd type dog. They're not like a wolf or anything.
But
like
if
that.
30 of them come at you,
I mean,
that would be difficult.
Hell yeah. I don't want to get bit by a German Shepherd.
That too. Yeah.
So a fox is a smaller.
Canine.
I'm trying to in my head. I'm trying to get an idea like how their body. Wolves are bigger.
Right.
Yep.
Foxes are smaller. I think I see.
So coyotes are in the middle between fox and
Okay.
But which ones are aggressive? So you got foxes; they
Wolves.
Generally stay away from people.
Yeah.
Coyotes stay with people.
Wolves would be more aggressive. I mean, obviously, you're a bigger animal. Like I said, coyotes are they're so skittish. I mean, if you see one normally in the daytime, there's something wrong with it. You know, normally you want to shoot it. I don't know if it's got rabies or if you know.
I hunted Saskatchewan. I've only hunted there once, and my first.
I thought he was going to say I hunted Sasquatch.
No,
and I'm looking at him going. He said that with a straight.
I had a deer.
No luck.
I had a deer bear combo tag. So you'd hunt in the evenings for bear and then in the mornings for deer. My first hunt going out for deer was the next morning after I got there. Leave at like 4 o'clock in the morning. We had a 23-mile ride on the back of a 4-wheeler.
Okay.
And this guy's taking me 23 miles back into the bush. So we get back here and he goes, okay, I'm going to take you to your stand. Don't come down out of your stand. I'm like, okay, well, that's a problem. That's a red flag to me. You're telling me not to get out of my stand. So I'm in there an hour before light. Okay. I'm sitting there and I'm not kidding you, probably 50, 75 yards. These two wolves start howling. You want to talk about eerie and sending shivers up your spine, up the back of your neck. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, this guy did not tell me about wolves. and then I'm starting to think what he said, like, don't get out of your stand for anything. I'll come get you. You know, like, why are you telling me that? Not telling me the reason for that.
Yeah. But like wolves won't climb a tree though. Like a bear might, but if you're in a tree stand, you should be good with the wolf.
So we bear hunted that, and there was like a huge bear coming in. It was like 600 pounds, and I did get to see him the one night. You knew when he was coming because every bear that was there, and I'd never killed a bear, so I'm hunting with my bow, and they come into this bait. They put this bait out, and they get them all to come in. And there must have been like 5 or 6 other bears there, and I could have killed my first bear. 250-pound bear is a pretty big bear. And when this thing started coming, you knew every bear that was there just literally, it was like
took off.
Someone just turned a light and they all just scattered, went up trees. I'm like, well, that was odd. Because I didn't make any noise or anything like that. And I'm like, okay. And then
you saw it.
Well, I saw it from a distance, and then it started that huffing. They make a huff noise, and they're so quiet. Even how big he was so quiet. But now I was hosting a TV show at the time, so I'm getting filmed, and the guy was with me knew about bears, and he's like, "That big bear's coming." I was like, "How do you know?" He goes, "You see all those bears? How they took off?" He goes, "They know." So he's coming into the food. That bear was so smart. He literally got in there like right at. I could make him out. I could have shot him. I could make him out, enough to pull back my bow and shoot him, but the camera couldn't see it real well, so he called me off on it. And that's the only night we saw.
600 pounds.
Oh, he was huge. He was big as that couch.
Could you kill a 600-pound bear with a bow? Is that possible?
Oh yeah. That's not all the time. I mean, there's guys that killed grizzlies with bows.
Okay.
Actually, there was a guy I just saw on Facebook. A guy killed a brown bear
with a bow.
With a recurve.
Dang.
But does it kill it instantly though, or it takes a while, right? Because
if you shoot it in the heart or lungs, I mean, it's going to die pretty quick.
I've been saying because I've heard stories like people shooting the grizzly with a gun.
If you don't hit a fatal shot, I mean, you're going to have a pissed off bear.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's why you usually have a spotter behind you, a guide behind you that's got a gun, because that bear's going to charge.
Is that the most dangerous animal? Would you say the bear?
I mean, I would
In
think so.
America.
In America, like when you're
No, I believe that they said there's more death by moose than there is by
Interesting.
grizzly.
Moose will charge you, right?
Yeah,
they'll try to tramp on you.
Yeah, and somebody just recently died in Yellowstone from a bison. Got gorged by a
So
bison.
those things are mean too.
Yeah, there's a certain limit that you're not supposed to get within like 50 feet or 50 yards of a bison or
Yeah.
something. And this lady was like right up on her.
Of course.
On him, and then
Of course.
he got
Humans
gorged.
are stupid.
Yeah, well,
Or ignorant,
Yeah,
you know.
we're always
Sometimes you just
looking
don't know better, you know.
like, hey,
Oh
this-
no! You don't sense there might not be a good idea, even if you don't know anything about it. It's probably not a good idea to go pet the bison.
I try to explain that to my kids, like the difference between ignorant and stupid. Ignorant means you're a smart person, you just didn't know better.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
like and
people
stupid's
always
like
wanna-
you should have known better.
People always want to push it to the limit.
yeah, like guys to pick up like poisonous snakes and things, right? I mean, like, you know.
Idiots that go searching for. Oh, you got bit by a copperhead? Let me go find it.
Well, what it is, it's these guys. It's like
classic.
oh, hey, look, here's a bison right here. You see that? They're like, boy, this video is going to go viral. It's going to go viral. Yeah. I think that social media is sort of kind of like dumb us down.
Well, think about
at least with me, I'm like more
Daredevils.
of a biological sense.
Well, daredevils that have been on the edge of mountains trying to show selfies with themselves. Look what I'm doing. I'm hanging on this building, and they just fall off.
Yeah.
I mean, Instagram's killed a shit ton of people.
Yeah, it has actually a lot of.
Did anybody get his phone?
I want that video.
I watched one guy that I guess this was over in Japan. This guy was like a daredevil, and he would climb buildings. He would get to the top of the buildings, and then he would hang off of
I've seen
like
videos like that.
He would hang off like this. And in the last video of him, obviously, he was hanging, and then just like just lost it, and then that was it. You didn't see anything. So you knew he was gone. He didn't have a parachute or anything like that.
Oh, so he was live streaming.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
'cause the
gone.
device would be
like
crushed.
like the video cut off as soon as he slipped, and you're like, damn.
Wow, man! All that for an Instagram follow.
Yeah.
I
Could
mean,
you
it's
imagine
like
that person just
probably
walking
famous
the
now.
street and all of a sudden,
he's famous now.
Yeah.
I mean, he achieved his goal, and people thought about him for about 2 minutes, and then they on to the
like,
next
hey,
thing.
man, it's probably not a
was
good
like-
thing to do.
I saw the one guy was famous over in some, I think it was in country in the Orient, where he's taking his girlfriend, and they both were like, and she was
Extremist.
extremely good looking woman, and they were like doing extreme, and they both were like climbing like the needle of these buildings, the very tip top, and they're both hanging off of it, and they're going. It looked like it was like Hong Kong or something, and like why? Why?
It's going to get me a lot of views. That's what.
Well,
it is.
that and
Thrill seeking, probably, right?
It goes back to competition. It goes back to competing.
I guess.
People want challenges.
Oh no, I get it.
And some people's expectation of a challenge is way beyond someone else's.
Hey, play Wordle or something.
You know?
I mean,
Yeah,
that's a little safer.
I mean, just recently I watched a guy. Now, granted, this wasn't technically his fault; it was just bad identification. But they were on a boat in the middle of the ocean, and they saw this big basking shark. If you know what a basking shark is, it's this vegetarian shark. It's one of the biggest sharks out there.
It don't look like a vegetarian
It
shark.
doesn't. But it's and so they're like, oh, cool. And a lot of people go and swim by him and stuff and get really cool videos and pictures and stuff. He jumps in, he sees the fin up. He's like, oh, there it is. So he jumps in, goes get ready to take a picture. He comes up, swimming back to the boat real quick, and you see the fin go down. And then it come up like next to him. He's like, "It's a great white! It's a great white!" And he's like pulling into the boat. It's freaking
Holy
nuts.
shit.
Could you imagine?
Was it a great white?
It was a great white. It was a big freaking great white. He
See,
jumped-
that's my luck. I mistake a basking shark for a great white.
Yeah.
First of all,
Is that stupid or ignorant? Which one is that?
that
a
is
little bit of both.
fucking stupid.
I don't think there's any debate on that.
Temple of Doom.
The
Harrison
snake,
Ford.
the snake scene.
Yeah, where he falls down into the pyramid and there's all those snakes
Yeah.
around. And he looks up and God, I hate snakes. Yeah,
Well, what would you do in that situation?
I'd have been dead.
I mean, honestly,
this is it.
We were
This
just
is
talking about this in Tennessee when we were.
he had
we
a
were down
torch, right? He had a torch. That was
there.
all he
Yeah,
had.
big deal.
Yeah,
Okay, so that torch is going to burn out.
yeah.
So there, John one guy was staying on that said that he had a snake on the back of his boat. Mm-hmm. It was chilling back here. And then another guy had one that was there all day underneath his seat, coiled up. And he was reaching under his seat for stuff. And
Dang.
Yeah.
A moccasin.
Yep, a moccasin, and it was a pretty big moccasin. They showed pictures of it, and I was like, I'd have died.
He had to burn a boat.
Yeah,
I've
burned
wondered,
a boat. I'd have died. I just had a heart attack. You'd bury me, sink the boat right there.
like, where are these snake pits? Because there are real snake pits. I never want to find one ever.
Like usually in construction, like I hear about it all the time. You know, in oil and gas when they're digging up stuff, and they'll dig up like rocks, and there'll be hollow spots in the rocks, like where snakes will get down into.
Yeah,
and they're a wintering hole. Is
Yeah,
what they call them.
I was getting ready to say probably.
so
the
they
winter-
winter
yeah.
together usually,
Yeah.
not like a separate.
There was he sent me pictures. I mean, it was so I got the heebie-jeebies just looking at the pictures. There were so many snakes. There was 1,000 snakes there.
So dirt movers come across their little pits all the time.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's the wintering stuff. During the wintering time, they'll group together and they'll create these dens. And then another big one is mating season. When in mating season, you'll see a bunch of them sort of compiled together just in big
Freaking snake orgy.
Yeah,
I don't want to come across any of that.
yeah.
I think I already.
I've seen the mating scene. The mating scene. Speaking of singing, are you doing shows anymore?
Yeah,
or-
we're doing 10 fairs this year.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing some Tracy Bird shows.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm actually
Okay.
supposed to take Tracy fishing. So
I had him. You know what? I interviewed him
man, I just saw
about
him.
a month or two ago.
I just
he was
saw
down
him-
in Greensburg. Or I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was at Greensburg,
Okay.
and I spent an hour and a half after the show with him talking about fishing. So he had just got that live scope for his boat, and he goes, "Man, I just picked it up yesterday and just got it on last night before I left to come up here." And so I started talking to him. I said, he goes, "Oh, you have it?" I said, "Yeah, I have it on my kayak." And he goes, "Well, what do you use for sayings?" Well, we got into this. It's about an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes conversation about live scope. So he gave me his number, and I said, "Here, follow this page. It tells you there's guys on there all the time sharing settings and all that,
Right.
for different scenarios." And but great guy. But man, did he sound great. I told him, I said, "Man, I've seen you a few times on the road. We've been playing together. Your voice is phenomenal." He goes, "Man," as I got older, he said, "my voice got strong." I said, "Well, yeah, I thought mine has too. As I got older, I don't know if to call it mature, but and I had to reinvent myself singing like 2 or 3 different times, because I didn't sing like back in Poverty Neck, like Lonely Girl, or
Do you mean like
those are pop.
like lower? Like
No, it's country pop. You're
right, but
basically
I mean,
singing pop.
As your voice matures, though, do you?
Yeah, I think it's got deeper, but like more depth to it. More
Sort of get that sort of a more of a raspier country.
Yeah, I've always had a raspy sound.
Yeah.
but it's gotten more fuller, I guess would be the correct term for it. But if you listen to the Poverty Neck recordings to the new stuff today, obviously the production is a lot better. But I've literally had to relearn how to sing, basically.
Right.
'Cause I didn't sing that way back then.
So who did you replace when Junior split? Who's the new guitarist?
Well, we're using 2, but the main guy is Zach Reeder. He lives
Okay.
in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Oh, right on.
So he'll drive in for a show or fly in, whatever.
Oh, right on.
And
I've heard that name before.
Zach's played with a couple people.
Okay.
Yeah, he's played with Frank Vieira a couple times.
Okay.
Joey,
Yeah.
Joey Catania, we're going to use Joey a couple times, but mostly Zach. And Junior's a hard guy to replace. And so Keith played with Zach in church and all that, and he goes, "Hey, he's used to wearing ear monitor. That's a big thing."
I think I've definitely met him a few times.
Yeah,
for
he's
sure.
a great guy.
Yep.
His wife's a pastor, and she just took a job in Bowling Green, Kentucky. For
Oh,
the
no
church.
kidding.
Yeah. And
I stop in Bowling Green all the time going home to Memphis.
Yeah.
It's a nice little stop.
but he's
between
about an hour
Pittsburgh
out of
and-
Nashville.
Yep.
You
Yep,
know.
north of it. Yep.
So he's definitely he's a full-time musician, and he's definitely gonna start playing in national. But the thing is, like, we're paying him, and I made this a point. Mm-hmm. We're paying him more than what he would make going out on the road with somebody new. Those guys are making $250, $300 a night, if that, sometimes. And I made a point. I said, hey, if we're gonna keep somebody, and it's got to be worth their while. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about artists today. Like, I don't think the guys today would have survived back in our time. And it's weird saying that.
Yeah.
But
like, what do you mean?
Just the effort that what we put into
The road work.
How many free shows we did. I mean, none of these guys do that. You can't give them, they want, I hear what some of these guys are charging, like, and that they're stupid enough to pay it. And hey, I'll go for it. But if you're not drawing people, if you're not putting asses in seats, it makes no sense. But
I think artists, it's just changed because the labels have gotten smaller.
Well, you don't need a label anymore.
Yeah.
You need social media.
You don't. And we didn't have social media back then. That's what I mean. So you had to do all that extra work in order to.
Social media made the musician lazy?
Well, okay, so here's the difference.
Yes, I would say yes, because you don't have to get out and bust your ass and go.
Without social media, you just had to actually be social.
Yeah.
To make
There were
fans.
extroverts back then, not introverts.
That's good.
Yeah. No, you could. You could sit at your house, post a video,
Okay.
and send it out to thousands of people. Where guess what? I didn't see you unless I came out and saw
You had to do
play.
4 Fridays in a row to meet thousands of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, it lost its risk factor. Like, there was one thing, you could go out and, hey, this is my shot to make it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out and do it. And there's sort of this sort of go time attitude that you had as a musician.
Yeah.
You don't have that nowadays. Like, for me, that's one, if I was ever to create, like,
and Adam can sing, by the way.
I know
he just.
I'm aware.
But I've tried.
I had one bad experience, and it'll eat me to this day. Like, I got with this a friend of mine plays in sort of a cover band called Fernleaf Collective, and they're well known here in the Pittsburgh area, and they sort of do country, they do a little bit of classic rock, all that stuff. And so I was down there, Fall City Pub in Ohio Pile, and they were playing down there one night. And
I've been there many times.
Yeah, they wanted they do this the Yacht Defense Party every year. It's like right around Thanksgiving, and I was there maybe on my birthday in July, and they were playing. He said, "Hey, like, would you want to come up?" Because they knew I sung and played and did some of my own original music. They're like, "Would you want to come up and maybe do like a 3 or 4 song set?" I was like, I was kicking around the idea. He's like, "You know what? I'm going to do it. I just need to rehearse.
Sure.
I need to get out there. I need to rehearse with you guys." So we did that. We ended up rehearsing like 4 or 5 different times, and got to the point where I was really comfortable. I was like, okay, I think I can do this. I feel confident. I'm ready to go. So that night, they do about 4 or 5 songs before I get up, and they announce my name. Say, yeah, we're gonna invite our buddy Adam Milstead up. He fights in UFC, but he's got his own music and stuff.
Right
and,
on.
And so I was gonna do about 3 covers, and then do my last one was this original that I had come out that a lot of people liked. So I got up there and I waved to everybody, and it was at that moment, like, I understood, like, on cover bands, bands in general, the important thing is to keep people engaged. Mm-hmm. And so the lead guitarist was still playing and stuff like that, and he had this rhythm, and then we started, and he never got to my rhythm. And so I just kind of led into his, and it was faster than what the song called for. Next thing I know, I get up there and start singing. I can't hear a damn thing. I can't hear my guitar. I can't hear my tone, my pitch. So I'm like, I don't even know if I'm singing in the right key,
right,
or whatever. So I'm like freaking out right there. And then now that we're faster, we're already 2 verses in where it should have normally been in the first verse.
Right.
I literally had to start making up words. I made up words. I was freestyling country singing up there. And it was such we got to the last song, my actual original song, and that one went well. I could just do it on my own. But I just had such a horrible experience, man. And it's that thing that keeps me out of getting up in front of people. Because
Wow.
I think about that experience. Because think about it. Like, it's one, you guys might disagree, but it's one thing to literally get in a cage and fight in front of thousands of people, and you're like, that's nuts. Like you literally just have to step in the cage. That's the hardest part. The next part is like you're not focused on anybody else but that guy that's getting ready to beat your ass.
Okay.
You know, but when you were up singing, you were literally the most vulnerable you could ever be because all the eyes are on you.
Sure.
You have to have a skill set that sort of, you know,
Absolutely.
you exploit to these people. You have to keep them going. Like it was near the third song, I was starting to see people stop dancing and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God, like it was miserable. And, you know, and it was at that point where I was like, man, maybe this isn't for me, you know, like, because I kind of think about it like maybe a good musician would have been able to kind of make that work out. Like maybe a good guitarist would have been able to add a few licks in there to make it.
Yeah, but Rome wasn't built in a day, though.
Let's ask him. So I'm sure that you've been there.
He knows how I feel about it. Because I could have did that. I could have quit kayak fishing after I dumped my kayak 3 different times.
Is there video?
Yeah, but have you been there before?
Is there video of that?
He doesn't want me to show it though.
But when you're up there singing, like that's anybody that likes to sing in their car. They're like, what if I got a chance to be with the band? It's not easy, right? I mean, you have to.
No, I mean, there's a comfort level. I mean, you know, if I'm not hearing, if I was in that situation and I couldn't hear, I think my natural instinct would just kick in because I've done it so long, you know, where there's a difference between someone who's been doing it a long time or someone who hasn't.
Yeah.
They're
'Cause you
overthinking
can't-
things already.
Yeah.
You know, they're worried about everything else that's around them.
Sure.
Instead of just focusing on what you're actually doing. And if you're having trouble hearing, then there's certain things you can do, like, you know, I think just a natural instinct kicks in.
Well, I've gone over this situation so many times. Like, I should have, because I think at least I could at least talk to the crowd enough to sort of gotten through it, but I should have just said, hey, everybody stop. You know,
No, Abby,
What?
that's not what he should have done, right?
Well, it
That's
depends
the
on
worst thing
envi-
you can
it
do,
depends
right?
on the
Well,
environment. You know,
well,
he's getting called up as a guest singer, so
and
you could probably get away with it then.
that's what I was
You know.
thinking. And I could have made it funny. I could have been like, sorry, guys, I get hit in the head for a living. I wasn't on the rhythm. Hang on real quick.
Yeah.
You know, I could have done that. I watched a few bands who have done that. You know, a few really, really good bands. One of them was Linkin Park was one. They did a situation like that. They
Oh, the
were playing,
Stones have done that
you
before.
know? Yeah, and they said, stop. We want to give you guys the best show in the world. We want to make sure we're on key. Let's go again. Boom, 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 boom. And then they get into it. And, you know, a part of
He's
me,
really put thought into this.
He's put a lot of thought into
I tell
it.
you what,
He knew
like,
I was going to talk about it.
it's a funny thing. Like I said, like I could get up in front of people and just fight another person and have no problem with it. It's sort of that vulnerable situation, and it's an emotional.
You're pretty vulnerable in the cage if you're going to get your ass kicked.
Well, yeah,
You gotta deal with that.
But at least it's just you and one other dude. You know, it's like you don't really think about it until after the fight. You're like, boy, I look.
Yeah,
like,
but the
I
reason
look
why you're comfortable fighting somebody in a cage is you've done it before.
Right.
If you got on the
Right,
stage
yeah,
10,
called
20 more
training.
times.
It's called
Yeah,
training,
yeah.
yeah.
I just.
It's just comfortability. You know, I remember I told my mom the Jamboree in the Hills, and she's standing in the back, and we played the 91,000 that night.
Jeez.
And looking out there, and I told her, I said, step out there and look around the corner there. And she goes, oh my God. She goes, I'm having a panic attack. I said, she goes, yo, why aren't you nervous? What? I said, Mom, I do this every night.
That's right.
260 days on the road. Like, it's no different than playing to 2 people or playing to
crazy.
100,000 people. It's what we do. I mean,
I agree. Yeah, like I talk on the radio every day. I've been on stage with the microphone like
That's-
a bajillion times.
that's what-
Singing's a whole nother thing, but
Yeah.
talking,
That freaked
I
me out
walk out,
about
it
you.
didn't even bother me.
I saw you go up at, I guess it was, I don't know if it was Star Lake or it was a stadium.
I've been on stage at Heinz Field
yeah,
and Kenny
that's-
Chesney. I've been on stage at
And
Star
I would
Lake.
look at that going, you realize you're looking out there, you're talking like 55, 60,000 people.
yeah.
That's insanity.
There's another point. So we did the halftime show and the anthem for the Steelers 4 times.
That's nuts.
That's cool.
So now you're in front of 65,000 judgmental Steeler fans.
Were they winning at half or not?
I will say that was I did get a chance to do the national anthem
Oh, that's pretty cool.
2 or 3 times. They're local shows. So if you have any little bit of talent, like these promoters are normally like they put so much thought into like getting the fighters ready to go on these local shows that they sort of like neglect getting somebody up to sing national anthem. Majority of them do the national anthem before we all fight. And since I've fought in UFC, I'm sort of like a name in Pittsburgh. They're like, hey Adam, I know you sing. Why don't you come up and do it? And I'm all about the challenges. Like at least this point it's on me, so I get up and sing, and I'll tell you what, the first time, I think Mary will tell you this story too, I was a nervous wreck, because here's the thing, it's one thing to mess up your own like song or somebody else's song, it's another thing to mess up the national anthem. And I swear to God, I kid you not,
It'll be viral the next day.
Yeah. I kid you not.
Who messed it up at the Super Bowl? Who did that at the Super Bowl? Like about
it was
7?
Fergie. Was that Fergie? No, that was
Macy Gray.
It was like 7-8 years ago.
Someone did it and like stopped or something. Was it you two or I don't know?
There was a few people who did that.
They said the wrong words.
Said the wrong words.
I know who you're talking about. I can't put the name.
It's hard though. That's
It was a girl
very
singer.
hard
It was a
song.
girl singer.
Yeah.
And they
Yep.
ridiculed her bad.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget, I did the anthem at myself after the band split up at PNC Park. And so it was the first time I did it, and they said, "You want ears?" I was like, "No." I said, "I'm good."
You
That had
should
to
because
mess
that
you up.
delay.
Yeah, the
Oh my
echo.
God. That delay was I was singing, "Oh, say, can you see?" Then I go, "Ba-da-da, oh, say, can you see?" It was like a version of "Row, row, row your boat." Everybody joining in.
In my opinion, they failed you by not just saying, no, you need the
It's
ears.
insisting,
Yeah.
right?
Because I've been on the field at PNC Park
Yeah.
and had to announce things. And I don't know if it's the same way at Heinz Field, right? I mean, there's delay.
But it's not that bad because it's circular.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
PNC Park, I mean, you literally, I'd say, hey, this is Eric McKenna. Then I'm starting to say the next thing, and now that's coming back.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You have to,
Try-
like,
try
block
singing
out.
in time.
That suck.
So it was the longest version. I'm like telling myself, speed it up, speed it up, speed it up, speed it up.
You have to
It
not
was
listen.
The longest version of the national anthem I've ever done.
That delay will tear you apart, man.
And I got done. My mom and dad were there, and she said, "Oh, that was good." And I was like, "Who were you listening to?"
They're being nice.
She was in the bathroom.
She goes, "Well, I couldn't tell." I was like, "It sounded like I was." Everything was slow.
It throws you off, yeah.
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 You know?
Well, I felt so nervous, and the most un-American I've ever felt in my life when I had to literally, I wrote down the words on my hand. Like I got a Sharpie. It was like writing these things, just keywords to make sure I know. So I'm up there, I'm singing like this. Oh, sick. I'm like looking down like this. I'm like, oh God, these people know that I'm reading my hand right now.
Well, I don't think anyone knows all the words to it. And here's the thing. You got robbed. Most of these sporting events, they have the lyrics up on the score for the fans.
that's
So the guy
bullcrap.
singing it can kind of go, hey!
Karaoke style. Yeah.
Big stadiums freak me out though. Like just the amount of people. So I want to talk about not talk about COVID, but we're not past COVID, so we're performing again. So I've gone to a couple of baseball games. I've done some things. I've gone out, socializing.
You went to the slaughterhouse?
To the what? The baseball game? Yeah, the Pirates. Yeah, but I went to opening day, and that was my first time since the pandemic that I was surrounded by like normal, like thousands of people. And I have to tell you, I was a little weirded out. I was, like, it was a little strange. My question to you is, do you think, am I alone in this feeling? Do you think people are slowly coming back? Or is everybody kind of looking at each other a little cross-eyed?
I just seen people today with wearing a mask. Look, I'm like
Outside. I still see that outside.
They
Outside.
were wearing it outside. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
While they're walking their dog by themselves.
I just don't like. I wasn't an advocate for it when it was going on.
No, I understand.
If you have a condition, I got it. I
Oh, yeah,
I
for sure.
understand,
Protect yourself.
For sure.
protect
For sure.
yourself. And if you're elderly, I get it. Like my mom and dad, I get it. My mom and dad didn't go out to dinner for 2 years. I finally told my mom, I said, get the hell out of the house.
Yeah, for sure. I get that.
Go socialize with people. with humans.
The reason I bring it up is Fred was in today, so I sat down with Freddie for another show, and he got the gig with Nikki Sixx and Motley Crue. So
I saw that.
Fred's
cool.
So he's been down in their bubble, right? Because Live Nation's running the show, and I guess Live Nation's calling the shots on everything in the way that
you have to be quarantined, and
so they're kind of like in this bubble in Nashville, and so. Part of our discussion today was that apparently the band members have gone on their social media platforms and said, there's no meet and greets. There might be some kind of weird meet and greet where the fan stands way over there and the band stands up on a stage and you get a camera shot, or I don't know. But there'll be no backstage passes. There'll be nothing. Like Fred gets no passes. Like nobody's going to be visiting Fred while he's on the road because he's in this bubble. And I just I guess I get it in one regard. But the other thing is they're going to be playing in stadiums with 50, 80,000 people.
Yeah, what's the point?
I don't know. At some point in time, it just doesn't make sense anymore to me.
There's been a lot that didn't make sense. I mean, I hear what you're saying. You're like, let's keep the band safe, but the 80,000 people,
they're not safe.
Who cares about them?
Yeah, well,
you're going to get sick.
I've been sick like 9 times
Me
this
too.
year. So.
Me too. I get it.
Yeah.
Monkeypox is coming.
Oh, yeah.
Choco chimps.
Well, it just shows you how much power the freaking media has. And, even those people who question the shutdown and question the pandemic, still to them, there is sort of this feeling of being in a group of people. Like, you're like, oh, man. Now, here's the thing. Like, you were asking, do I care? I don't. I even have, 2 baby boys at home, 5 months old.
Right.
And when people come over and they want to wear a mask, it's like, don't wear a mask. I'm like, take it off. So what? If there was a problem with babies, like dying from COVID, they would have used that against us, big time. So I said, don't.
The only problem with babies now is you can't get baby formula.
Well, yeah, that too. So, thank God not to put too much information out there. But Mary's breastfeeding, which is, she's a legend at freaking,
there you go.
Daycare. But
there you go.
Yeah, it's sort of like, I get it. Everybody's sort of wary. If
I don't think everybody is. Actually, I think it's the contrary. I think probably if you had maybe 60, 70% of people have kind of gone back to their normal life. Would you agree with that, Abby? I think
I never quit. Honestly, it gave me an excuse to fish more.
Yeah.
Because I fished during quarantine.
No, but I mean events now. Let's talk about events for a second. So are you seeing a return to normal?
Kenny Chesney's going to be at Heinz Field Saturday. There's going to be 40, 50,000 people there. Mm-hmm. There are there's no rules other than there's no restrictions. It's like normal life. And it's how dare we have normal life? It just is. I mean, I didn't make that decision. They got it
so instilled in you that everybody needs to be.
I get it.
Everybody needs to be afraid, and
maybe we should. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that. I'm just giving you. There's a big event in Pittsburgh this Saturday at Heinz Field, and there's no restrictions. And there weren't any for the Steeler games. There was none for the NBA. There was none for baseball. I mean,
So we're back to normal.
Yeah, we're back to normal to a certain extent.
Here's the thing.
No, there isn't a certain extent. We're back to normal.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
you have to ask yourself, though, 2 or 3 years ago, when somebody sneezed, when somebody coughed.
Never gave it a second thought.
You never thought about it.
Nope.
But now you do.
Now you do. Everybody's
now you do.
What?
So it's sort of in that sense that I think we all sort of kind of, look on it, I don't know, as something that could be bad or whatever. But
never realized how many people don't wash their hands in the bathroom. Man.
Well, that too, yeah.
That's been going on, Eric.
Well, yeah.
I guess, man. It's now in my consciousness.
Hey, nobody wants to be sick, right? Nobody wants to be sick.
I think I've always if I say sanitizer, being a singer, you don't want to get sick.
Of course not.
That's big.
So I've always done my
Absolutely.
hands. I don't go out of my way to do it, but if I see it, I'll use it.
It's just personal hygiene and respect for people, but
But I always wash my hands after the restroom.
Nowadays, if somebody asks you to wear a mask, we're immediately going to be pissed off. I was pissed off regardless, but especially nowadays, I think still hospitals require a mask and things like that.
Well, certain cities.
I flew back in March. I flew 1 weekend to Vegas, 1 weekend to Nashville, and you had to wear the mask on the plane.
Now you don't. I don't think.
I think they took that away.
No, there was this video I watched. It was like Southwest Airline. The pilot was saying, "Hey, just to let you know, no mask," and everybody like threw it off.
That's what happened. My wife was in there with her flight when that happened.
Really?
Yeah, then
Wow.
she's part of the crew for American, and that they went from having, they boarded the flight in Israel with masks on, coming here, and then across the Atlantic, they got the notification.
Look, I'm no doctor or scientist, so I'm going to preface with that, but I always thought it was silly on a plane because you're all just literally sharing the same air.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah,
it's like if it's that serious, we probably shouldn't even be on this plane.
And not only that, the masks don't prevent it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
If you got a mask on and somebody farts and you smell the fart, the mask doesn't work.
If someone's watching this video, I don't know the answer to it. I just thought if it was really, really serious, we probably shouldn't be on a plane at all.
Exactly. Yeah, like
with other people.
I mean, if anything, that I think the pandemic did is united some people, together. As far as I've always wanted to get a tattoo, like somewhere it's shown, and I'm actually
You got a Fauci lower back tattoo?
I got
jab me harder, baby.
I got a big old tramp stamp on
You
the
got Doctor, is it just his name or the whole face?
He did it for the Instagram.
I want to see that before we leave tonight.
That was great.
So
that was great.
I'm getting a sleeve. I'm getting a sleeve from here
Damn.
up like to middle of my arm.
I always wanted to get a tattoo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a whole goddamn sleeve.
But I'm getting it of the American flag.
Okay.
All right,
That's
on.
cool.
No
Right
color.
No color.
No color, just all black and shaded.
Right on.
And I'm not sure if I'm putting rating or not, but maybe like I stand for this ragged old flag. You remember the Johnny Cash song?
Yep.
And
How long does that process take to do something like that?
I haven't gone through it yet, so they told me
Well, they estimate.
probably 2 sessions.
That's
Being
it?
I'm not getting color.
Okay.
Have you ever got a tattoo?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I have.
Where's it at?
I'm not telling you. No, I got one.
On the head of his penis. He got a bullseye.
Right there.
No, I got baseball bats on my ankle. Yeah.
I don't have any tattoos. I've never.
I got one.
Yeah,
and
one.
that's it. Just on the arm, all the way around. Back in the
What?
'90s,
That was a thing.
This was tribal.
Yeah, travel was the
back
thing.
then. Now, what tribe are you from?
Why do you got barbed wire on your?
I can't make up my mind like anything that I know I'll still like 20 years from now. I change every day.
Yeah,
It's
I
tough.
believe in our country. I mean,
Yeah.
I
you're pretty safe
That's
with the
a good
flag,
one.
right?
Yeah.
You're pretty safe.
Definitely.
And
Pretty
then
safe
you're going to
with the
move to
flag.
Australia as soon as you get it. Damn.
I can see you as an Aussie.
Like the most famous fisherman in Australia with the American flag tattoo.
Eric, I got to ask something because I've seen it 3 times now.
Okay.
Why the hell do you have a hammer, a ball peen,
Oh,
a ball peen hammer of all sorts?
Yeah, it's just kind of corny and dumb, but
In case one of the guests were just too boring.
boom. No, this is not my brother's hammer, but my younger brother was a pretty gregarious guy, and he used to always talk about he always in his car he always had a ball peen hammer, and a ball peen hammer can fix anything.
Yeah.
He said fix anything, can fix arguments, can settle people down. You know what I mean? But a ball peen hammer can generally do everything that a regular hammer can do, minus the claw. Mm-hmm. So, as a kind of a thing, I've always had a ball peen hammer in all my offices and everything I've ever done, and it's just like kind of like a little resemblance of my brother because he would have absolutely dug just how my it's personal, but my brother passed away in the mid-90s, and my life went really well when he left. I mean, it was going well before, but all these crazy things happened that he would have loved to have been part of, like the growing of the Boogie Street thing and working with Paul Stanley and all that crazy goodness, right? And my kids, not seeing my kids. So this is just kind of a little remembrance of him, like just the crazy nature he had. Like, ball peen hammer can fix anything.
That's awesome.
That's a good question, Abby.
It's just there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Being that album cover right there,
Yeah,
that
man.
Paul Stanley. That was the first album cover, the first real record I had.
Yeah, man. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Yeah, this room's a little eclectic like that, but it's it's just all the things that I love. I love my friends. I just love people in here having a good time. And like, some guys have man caves and things like that. And I think that's usually based around sporting events, TVs, and watching games. And that's not my bag. So
We have a lot of nostalgic stuff in here. Like,
yeah,
we were talking about, you made that post with the shoes on.
Which one? Oh yeah, my pony shoes.
The pony shoes, like that was huge back in our, and I
love
don't know
that
if you
stuff.
How old are you?
I'm 56.
Okay, so I'm 6 years behind you,
I right on.
and that was huge back in our time. Pony
Ponies.
shoes.
I think I just missed that. So I'm 48. I graduated in 91.
Well, you're only 2 years.
Like Air Force and Michael Jordan.
I graduated in 90. You're only 2 years.
I have no idea.
I don't
what you guys
remember
are talking
pony.
about.
Listen. I don't remember the pony thing at all.
remember
I
pony-
missed
Well,
that.
ponies were big in the 80s,
Oh, okay.
They
like
were
in the
awesome.
early 80s.
Was this like Converse?
Yeah, pony was a tennis
Yeah, it's
shoe.
kinda
That,
like-
ponies
A couple
came out
years can
when
make the
when
big
Nikes
difference.
got big but Nikes were more expensive. So we didn't have. I just didn't have the extra $7 because my dad wasn't going to buy them for me. So the ponies were a little cheaper, but I liked them, and that's kind of like in a lot of other kids liked them too. It was a thing.
What year did you graduate, Adam? You look like a young man.
2006.
There you go.
God
All right.
almighty.
Baby.
I got pairs of jeans.
That's another thing. Like we go on the road fishing and all that. I'm always the oldest guy. Like
We gotta like.
I'm not used to that at all. Like because I don't think of myself as being old.
Yeah, I don't either.
And
You're not old. You're just
no, but
It's a frame of mind,
but I'm almost 15 years older than him. That's a huge difference in.
It's not the age. It's the mind.
No, I'm talking about.
it's the mindset too.
I'm talking about like we were just talking about. There's things that I know.
Oh, certainly.
Certainly.
Your frame of reference is
Yeah.
longer, and that's like, that's like, there's a lot of eclectic things. So a lot of my younger guests that come on, your generation, even younger than you, will come in here, and a lot of things this will kind of like just go over their head, because a lot of the things in here are period to
Yeah.
my, my age. And a lot of it has to do with Boogie Street. So there's some tapestry there. And it's just, so I don't know if all the aesthetics they understand, but they dig,
I get it.
They dig lights.
It hits with me.
You know what I mean?
Ooh, lava
Look at the lights and the lava lamps, man. That's pretty cool.
It hits with me because this is my era.
100%.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
right away when I walk in, I'm like, oh, cool. I remember like
You're
back when I was
back
young,
in the 70s, man.
Back when I
Late
was young,
70s.
kids used to collect beer cans, different kind of beer cans.
Yeah.
I remember my friends having like so many beer cans and up around their bedroom, like on shelves.
Not funny.
That was the thing.
I had that couch in college. I was in the 90s, and that was my
It's a
couch.
very expensive couch.
And I
now.
did have some lava lamps. I will. They came back in the 90s for a minute. I don't know. You could get them at like, what was the store in the mall? I think it's still in there. The Spencer's. Yeah, you get your lava
Spencer's
lamps.
had a lot of interesting things in it, if you remember correctly. You know what I mean?
They've gone a different route.
Yeah, Spencer's has definitely gone a different route.
I haven't been in there in a while. I don't know what they're doing.
I used to
go
drive.
in.
I used to
They're
drive.
very couple oriented now.
Yeah, the must have really went off the deep end.
Yeah.
I remember taking my son in there when we go to the mall. My son was probably like 6, 7. I'd walk into Spencer's and he would just keep walking through the store and I'd be grabbing him. No, not in the back, Bert, not in the back.
Don't go back there.
In the back of the store, it got a little risque. I don't want him asking questions. I'm just not prepared to answer.
Fetish stuff in there and everything.
Oh, really?
Hey,
Oh yeah, there's tie ups in there. There's swings.
Just a weird observation about the world. Remember when we were growing up, any movie always had like a sex scene in it because we had, that was the only place you get it. Oh yeah, that sex scene. I was noticing with my kids, like, it's kind of nice with taking kids to movies now because they don't put it in there anymore because it's like a waste. If you want to see sex, go look at some porn on the internet. It's you know what I mean?
Hey kids, I took the adult content off your phone, of your iPad. Go ahead, you got free range now.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I was like, they don't put that in movies anymore. It's unnecessary.
It doesn't hold
It's
any
like,
weight.
Yeah, it's like,
It doesn't hold any
just
weight.
do a plot. You don't need the obligatory sex scene in a movie anymore.
Speaking of movies, I just went to the movies for the first time, and
Has anyone else noticed that? I'm
No,
sorry.
you're absolutely right.
I agree.
You're absolutely right.
yeah, I just went to the movies for the first time in probably about 6 years.
Okay.
I went with my dad.
What'd you see?
Top Gun.
I knew it.
Is it
I was
good?
gonna say it.
Was there a sex scene in it? I haven't seen it yet. It had to be because that's
A
cheesy
short
80s.
one. A short one.
Okay.
Yes. A short one. Yes.
With Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
He's like, I'm in now.
Viagra's a thing.
You know what I was about to say. He's still going strong.
Well, this lady sitting beside us. She goes, "Boy, he's really showing his age." And I'm like, "He's fucking 59 years old." I mean, yeah, he's gonna age a little bit. I mean,
CGI, buddy.
he still looks great for his age. You
Sure.
know? But you know,
It's a state of mind, man.
they
can't
did,
convince you
and
that.
I will say this: I wasn't expecting it to be that good. It was awesome.
Everybody's
They did a
talking
great,
about it.
great job of taking that storyline from back in the original Top Gun and moving it forward
Right.
to now.
They did a good job with Val Kilmer's character because he couldn't talk, right? Because
Yeah.
in real life he can't talk at all because
Right.
of his cancer.
Which
right?
I didn't know.
Oh.
So they
So my
kinda-
dad told me that after we left the movie.
So his son is actually the voice of all those parts. Did you know that? That's
No.
his son. They did the audio with his son and they CGI'd it, but
So
that's his son's voice.
Like lipping?
I guess I haven't seen it yet, but I read
Well,
all. I
he
read
didn't
all
really
about
talk
that.
at all in the movie.
Okay, then that's his son. Well, I thought they said the voiceover of him, maybe him thinking and audio. It's audio.
I'm trying to think of.
Holy, that's crazy.
Yeah, he can't.
Yeah, but
How does he not have any
He has a
lines?
scarf on all the time. In the
He's
movie.
probably got a. Big
He's got
hole
he's
here.
got a hole here. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sucks.
But Tom said he wasn't going to do the movie unless he was in it.
Right. Yeah, he got a lot of respect for that, man.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And so Goose, his pilot, his Rio that he lost in the first one, the kid they have playing his son, crazy how much it looks like him.
Really?
Crazy. And I just saw something on social media today, an interview where that kid was talking about when he walked out the first time him and Tom did a full dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
And the kid walked on and he's like, Tom turned around and he goes, "Oh my God, this is so going to work." He said, "You look like him."
That's magic, actually.
And he goes, "This is going to be great." And
But you dug it, though, right?
it was awesome.
Really?
I'd go watch it again.
I thought I heard a bad review of that movie.
I have no desire to see it at all.
Oh.
In the 80s, I was a little kid, and I don't even know if I watched the
You
first
probably
one.
should watch the first. If you were going to think about doing it, you watch
My
the
dad
first one first.
actually,
How did you not watch Top Gun?
I don't.
I've never seen E.T.
I just started watching Seinfeld recently.
And that's like big in our area.
I never seen E.T. No.
When I was a
I
kid,
cried at
all I
E.T..
watched was sports. That's all I watched. You cried at E.T.
I did. I think I was 11 or
On
12.
that note,
I was trying to play it cool, you know.
it was hyperventilating.
He cried at E.T.
He died. Oh my God.
E.T. phone home.
I cried
Spoiler
at
alert, he doesn't die.
I cried at Porky's.
Porkies.
Man, that's before my time.
Come on, you
Porky's.
remember that?
I remember Porky. I didn't watch it for the crying parts. I mean,
Thanks to the internet, you don't need movies like Porky's anymore.
You remember Porky's, right?
I don't. I never saw it.
That's
When
like Fast Time in Ridgemont High.
It was like a Cinemax movie, right?
So my child,
Late night
my
Cinemax,
child,
out
my
of
child.
business.
Oh yeah, well, we would turn and we'd have the wiggly lines because my parents wouldn't pay for it, and I'd be like trying
Yeah.
to find a nipple somewhere in that screen somewhere.
Yeah, you had to
looks like a
you had to use the little thing on the box,
like a
the
squelch.
scanner part. The scanner part.
Right. They don't need any of that anymore. Thanks to the internet.
Oh wait, did I just see a
Porky's-
breast?
That was cool.
The movie was Emmanuel.
Right, they don't need that anymore.
That was the movie. I mean, it was like 78, 80.
Yeah.
And it was like, HBO was an extra $6 a month. But that wasn't going to be in the McKenna household.
So you had this little my box,
black and white TV on my
It was a
end.
beige box, okay.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
it had the thing you go click click click, click. To turn the stations. Okay, the numbers are so I wouldn't be able to see those damn numbers now, but the numbers are so fine. Turning it, and then you head over here. You had what he was talking about, like a thing to
Squelch.
adjust.
Fine tuning.
Fine-tune the picture.
Fine tuning.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get those lines there like static, but then you can make it out. And then some seeds.
Oh, look at TV. That's a nipple.
Yeah.
That's
that-
hilarious. That's my. I just had that world observation lately. I was like, because I have young kids, and it's like back in the day, even a good movie like Top Gun, there was a freaking big long sex scene
Oh,
in it.
yeah.
You're like, kids, turn around that way for a minute. That was my mom.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeremy, you turn around that that way, there's going to be about a 30-second sex scene. But now you don't have to do it anymore because it's like porn has put that out of business.
Do you remember
know?
the first time you ever watched a movie like that with your parents when they had an embarrassing
Oh,
scene?
all the time. Because my parents wanted to watch shows, and they were like, kids, you're going to be in here because we got to watch this movie, but we'll tell you when to turn around, like earmuffs or something.
Do you remember, would you remember a very impactful movie or a time where you
Roadhouse.
got embarrassing for you?
Roadhouse for me.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
They all had
Maybe
sex
Dirty
scenes.
Dancing.
Yeah, they all had sex. If you think of movies from the 80s and 90s, they all had a sex scene in
Help
it.
me remember this movie. There was a movie
Bambi had a sex scene. No, I'm just kidding. Not that one. That's a bad example.
Oh, jeez.
There was a movie. There was a police undercover movie in the late 80s. And I think it was Andy Garcia was in it, and I don't know who the other actor was.
Oh, I got one. I had just moved here to Pittsburgh 20 years ago, and I started dating my wife. And I don't even know why this happened, but we went to the drive-in in Moon Township to see Wedding Crashers.
Oh, great.
And we're all in our lawn chairs.
my God,
I don't know. I got
great
me and
What
my
a great
girlfriend,
movie.
who's my wife now, and my dad. And remember all the sex scenes in it, like where they're getting laid with all the people from the weddings.
Yep.
And I'm like, this is weird. Because my dad said that. So I mean, there's one for me. But go ahead. All right.
No, this movie was so bad, and I wish I could remember the name. It's going to drive me insane now. But it was basically about when police have that internal investigation, I think it's called, or internal affairs.
Like a rubber
That
glove?
movie,
Oh.
Internal Affairs, and I think it was Andy Garcia and Richard Gere, I think, and this
Yes,
really,
it was Richard Gere.
and really, really good-looking woman. And I'm sitting there with my folks in the movie theater watching this movie, and it's like really intense movie. And this sex scene, and now this is like 89, right? 90, 89. And again, think of the era now. And they have this incredible sex scene where he flips her around on this wall, which wasn't his wife, but the husband was around the corner, and Richard Gere's having sex with this, like, flips her from behind. And there was an implication there that it was a very difficult entry, and it got your mind kind of went. Your mind kind of went to areas that.
And you're sitting next to your parents?
My parents, yes.
Interesting.
So my dad is sitting next to me. I'm sitting here. My mother's on the other side. And my dad looks to me, and my dad looks at me, and I think I had my date with me at the time. So it was my date and me, and my mom and dad at the theater. So I don't know how we ended up this way, but I ended up sitting next to my father. And my dad's like pumping me. He goes, I wouldn't advise that move on a first date. I go, no, Dad, I don't think I would advise that.
Well, here's the thing. Did you ever have like the birds and the bees talk with your parents? I never had it, and
I never had it either.
When I was talking about Roadhouse was my scene when I never had it. He didn't do anything. I was sitting here watching this. He's just sitting there watching. I'm like,
hey, Dad, what's going on right now?
Is this real? Like, okay.
Why are they wrestling naked?
Yeah, I figured it out real quick. I was like, oh, that's what they mean. When they're doing the thing.
My dad tried to tell it to me on a drive. We were driving in a 1974 Plymouth Duster, and it was green, and we were going to the mall. And my father never wanted to take me anywhere. And this one night, he was insisting that I was going to the mall with him. I'm going, this is kind of weird. So I'm sitting in this car, and he starts talking about like they call it the birds and the bees, and I go, well, I think I know where you're going with this, Dad. I kind of know. I know some things, And after I was done with that, I was done with the trip up and the trip back, and he even took me to McDonald's. So he must have felt pretty bad on the way back.
How old were you? Like 3?
Yeah.
So I
Happy Meal.
5, 6. I was more confused after he gave me this talk. And then the first time that I realized that women, now this is the late 70s, that females had like pubic hair down there. I was more fucking freaked out about that than I was any bird and the beast talk I was given.
He told you that during the conversation?
No, he didn't tell me. He should have told me the women also have pubic hair.
Son, here's what I'm going to have to do.
Because as far as I was concerned, the women, they didn't have organs down there. They must be completely clean and shiny.
This is getting really weird.
I found out right away that wasn't the case. You're welcome.
So wait a minute. Wait. So he goes, son, I got to tell you about the birds and the bees. Here's a classic Playboy magazine.
I never had any of those. Yeah, apparently I'd never seen any.
There's everything you need to know.
I learned everything. I found a DVD. That
I had to talk.
How I learned everything.
I tried to have to talk to my son because I know everything already. And I'm like, well, what do you know? And about 20 minutes later, I was like, oh, I don't have to tell you shit.
Meanwhile, your dad's like, wait,
I'm taking notes. I'm taking
he's
notes.
Like, you could do that?
So I had to talk. My son was 11 or 12.
Okay.
And, I've heard some stories that there was girls doing things on the bus to guys at 6th grade. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, what?
Yeah.
So
oral sex holds no real weight anymore in society. Yeah. You haven't figured that out by now.
That's the new first base.
I figured I better have this talk. I said, you understand that you are capable of getting a girl pregnant now. Dad, I know. I don't need. I said, no, we're going to talk about it. He goes, Dad, I don't know. He's like, no, we don't have to talk about it. I know. My friends tell me stuff, and
my friends, nothing dangerous there.
They know all about it at 11.
Now he's 20. Now he's calling me from bars. Hey Dad, watch me chug his beer. I'm like he's FaceTiming me. I'm like, first of all, you're 20
in a
or
bar.
You're 19. And you're in a bar. He's like, Dad, everybody goes to bars. Like,
we're living in strange times, buddy.
Yeah.
Did you have to do that? Did you give that talk?
So I have 2 sons in college. I did, and it was just kind of similar. It wasn't that bad. Like, they listened a little bit, but they were like, and then when I finished, they were like, thank God that's over.
They knew it was coming.
Yeah, because I'm sure it was awkward.
But it was around the same age. I mean, if you wait until they're like 18, like it sounds like your son, you're like, my son was already like dating 15 different women. I mean, if you wait till they're like in college, it's a little late at that point,
Hell,
was it?
You're late at 15 years old.
Oh yeah.
So as a newfound dad, would this? Do you think it would be more awkward for you to give the speech than it is to receive the speech?
Give it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because how do you even bring it?
How do you bring it up when you take them to
So
McDonald's,
it depends on where you come in. So it's the awkward moment, I think, is depending on when you wait. Because it's like no dad wants to have that conversation. Yeah. It's like you get to 10, 11, 12, 13. I mean, it's somewhere in there, depending on which one you pick. 14 is probably the latest you can
they start learning about it at 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
And
they're picking their own sex when they're like 4.
Thanks to movies leaving it out now, it's a little later than usual.
When I was, I think the only time we ever really talked about that, I was getting ready to go on a camping trip, and it was with my best friend and his sister, and then she was bringing one of her friends and stuff like that. We're 15 years old, and we're walking down the aisle in Walmart, and he stops, he looks back, and he grabs these condoms. He's like, hey, you're gonna need these. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
15.
Wait, I was 15 years old. I was like,
was your dad Hugh Hefner?
Yeah, no, right? Like, I'm like, we didn't even like talk about this stuff. Whatever, just put them back. I don't need them.
They're just balloons.
It's my best friend's sister. So
this is balloons.
Yeah, right. Hey, put them over your head.
Party balloons.
Yeah.
I think you have to educate your kids, though. You have to let them know that we're all people, we're all human beings. We're going to do what we're going to do. But as a father or mother or whatever, as a parent, you have to say,
well, you have a few more that you're going to have to talk with.
You're kind of not doing them a favor if you don't say, hey, if you should probably not do this right now.
If you don't wrap it up, this is what's going to happen.
Wasn't that the 80s? I mean, like, for a period of 8.
I don't think like
AIDS and shit.
So
was
first
a fear,
of all,
man. That was a fear.
I don't know what school your son was going to, but I do think because of the fact they're not putting
Keystone
sex
Oaks.
scenes in movies as much. I think it's a little later with the kids. I don't know. Maybe I feel like when we were kids, like we were on the couch with our parents, we were seeing sex in just regular shows and movies all the time. And I feel like it's not in there as much now. I'm raising kids actively right now, and you're not seeing it as much.
That's interesting.
We know where to get that. You know, it's on the internet.
Yeah. If they have an iPad or a phone, they can pull it up. They can type in girls and all kinds of stuff.
I might be 100% wrong because they might be seeing all that stuff on the internet too. That's the scary part.
So do you think kids aren't launching? Do you think there's a failure to launch, or they're just launching slower? Or just...
Hey, look, he just got... So I have kids right now. I have 3 kids in elementary school, and I would say to you that on television, you're not seeing sex as much because they don't need to put it in there anymore. It's already on the internet for people that want to see it. However, he just made a great point. Every kid in town's on an iPad looking at YouTube, and there they might get more than that 30-second sex scene that was in the 1985 Top Gun. So easy for them. You know.
It's kind of sad. It
is sad. Yeah, the accessibility is it's almost ridiculous.
Yeah, well, you're talking about that road work as a musician. You remember what it took to get a Playboy magazine back then, back in the day?
Put some effort into that,
you had to put some effort. You had to make a few connections, a few calls and stuff like that. Yeah, nowadays, they just got to have Google. That's it. And that's a sad part about it. It's I think it's definitely going to warp the minds.
That explains a lot why you have a Google phone.
Yeah.
Well, kids are staying at home longer. My point is, like, they're living with their folks longer. They're not, they're waiting longer to get their driver's license. There's a lot of statistics showing that it isn't a failure to launch. It's just that they're just elongating their childhood. You know what I mean? They're elongating their childhood.
Yeah. I mean, you could say that's simply the fact that, if you send your kid to college, they're going to have, $100,000, $200,000 in freaking debt before they're actually ready to get out in the workforce. So they can't afford to live on their own. You could say that, or you could
that's
say
part of it, I guess.
You could say the simple fact that, it's nowadays when the inflation is so freaking high, kids are, why would I go out and live there when I could stay at home and live for free?
Well, I observed, like with my children and their friends, a lot of the kids just had no interest in getting their driver's license, and I think it's because the parents were just always taking them everywhere, and it's like they were just like we were salivating to get our driver's license. The moment I was like one day eligible,
14, yeah.
But a lot of kids.
Maybe there's more entertainment. When we were growing up, we had to get out of the house to do something. Right. You know what I mean?
Well, I lived at the mall, or went to the movies, and
here's the thing:
kids don't do that anymore.
With my kids, I am going to advocate fishing and hunting
right on,
as much as possible, because that was the one thing that got me super excited about the weekends or anything like that. Like, some people would go out and hang out at the mall or something like that, but it was kind of boring after a while. Like, I wanted to get outdoors and stuff, and that was because my father put me in that place. And I think that's a big advocate for outdoorsmen and an outdoorsy style
for
life.
Sure.
Oh yeah,
but, even if it's just like sports, like going out to the golf, to play golf or something like that.
I had my daughter playing golf last night. My 10-year-old daughter. I would say this: like, I'm the same way. My challenge. I grew up in Tennessee, where it's pretty much warm all year. Mm-hmm. Like, during the next 6 months in Pennsylvania, freaking amazing. Or 5 months, because we can play golf, we can go fish, we can go swim, you can do outdoor. If I'm gonna love living in Pennsylvania, I've been here 20 years now, so I'm trying to. But and I do love the next 6 months are amazing, better than anywhere else.
Yes.
I gotta find ways to enjoy the winter more. And this guy, you guys, you get in tree stands. I don't know how you do it when you're freezing.
It is
it's like 10
only
degrees.
A split second.
We talk about this all the time. You are not meant for the woods. I've taken this cat hunting.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. I've taken him. He showed up smelling like a whore one time.
I heard that deer come when you have really good cologne on.
Oh, you went hunting with him once?
Oh yeah.
Multiple.
Yeah,
what?
Yeah. At least twice.
At least
maybe
twice.
More than that.
Did you ever kill anything?
No.
Hell no.
I tried.
Listen,
we were sitting out there all day. It was turkey season, and deer were like galloping in front of us. It was turkey
I can
season.
shoot that right now.
it was right over by your house where you live now.
Oh, really? Okay.
At the day farm.
Yeah.
So I take him over there. I'm calling. Got birds gobbling. We're getting set up.
He got me to take my Hummer off road for the first time. We was like, it's a damn Hummer. So we drove it to a field. Remember?
Yeah. He didn't want to drive. He goes, well, it's high grass. I was like, drive that damn thing through
grass. He was like, you own a Hummer. Quit being a Jaguar.
Was this a H1, H2?
That was H3. It was H3.
It was the little version. Yeah. It was a little guy version of it.
It's a Jeep. It's the equivalent of a Jeep Wrangler. You know what I mean? Like,
so anyway, I'm setting up these. I got the decoy set up, and I'm back to the tree. I said, all right, go over there. We're going to get ready. And I look, there's no danger. He's on the decoys taking freaking selfies with the decoys.
It's true. I still have that selfie.
I was like, hey, get the hell back over here. I said, the birds are far away.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And then we sat out there all day and never saw a turkey. And then we got into my Hummer and drove back through the field and on the road. And there were turkeys walking down the road.
There was two longbeards walking
so
down the
I
road.
parked.
He goes, hey.
And I get out. Yeah.
He goes, can I shoot one? I was like, no.
Was it on the road?
It was on the road.
Oh yeah.
I got out. I wanted to shoot it because we'd been out there for
There's a house right
hours.
there. There's kids. There's a kids park right there.
I was like, why can't you shoot them? They're right here. It's turkey season.
I would have let him shoot it. Yeah. I'd be like, go ahead, man. I would just sat back and filmed.
We didn't have. I had a BlackBerry then.
Yeah, that was probably
The BlackBerry. Golly.
Listen,
Yeah.
Listen, it's better
That was
than
probably
like a
07,
slider.
08.
I was
8 or
just thinking
9.
about this the other day. Like, what the hell did we do back in our time? Like, I know I could tell you. My best friend's number is 423-5159. My other friend's was 423-4843. I can tell you all their numbers because that's
How we used to identify somebody. Yeah.
Now you just push their name. There's like literally, that's a good point. I know my dad's number and my wife's number. That's about it. My kids, I have them phones. I just push Ellie or Luke or
Right.
Simon.
Right.
You don't even know anybody's number anymore.
Yeah.
We become lazy to technology.
Yeah.
well, yeah. I mean, like when the phones came in, there was no social media back in our
Oh my
band days.
God. Thank God there wasn't any.
Well, no, that's not entirely true. When you guys hit your stride, MySpace had come out.
No, MySpace didn't come out until the band broke up.
That's not true.
No,
Right,
Like
the last year band being together.
So wait a minute.
2005, MySpace was here. I was using Boogie Street in 2005.
Yeah,
MySpace.
Poverty Neck was probably on there.
Nah, we
Oh, you
didn't have an
do it?
account until
Okay.
like 2000.
I hated every second.
Seven.
It
Do you think
allowed
anybody
too much
had
customization.
had your music as their background?
Oh God, dude!
Yeah.
It
You
too
know
much
what, though?
customization. You had little fairies everywhere.
Yeah,
you could do
little-
wallpapers. It looked like it was a mess.
So this is a
It was
good
mess.
point because MySpace was the infancy of social media.
Yes,
And they became really big, and they didn't even use it.
Right.
It wasn't necessary.
They
That's
need-
why I'm okay. So
didn't need
that's
social
proving
media.
my point of we were just road dogs.
Yep.
I mean, we would go out. We did the pebble in the pond theory, where you just keep growing, keep growing, keep growing, keep growing.
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
And that's how we grew to the point where we could play on a Wednesday or Thursday night in Pittsburgh and put 1,500 people in a bar,
Yep.
no problem at all.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and
I walked in there. We started playing Mr. Right Now on Froggy, and I remember the first time I walked into one of your shows. I don't remember if it was at the Rhythm House in Bridgeville, which is no longer there. It's a
Yeah.
gas station now. Did you
I
ever
thought
go
it was-
there?
I thought it was a Red Star.
Might have been Red Star, but I
Station
remember
Square.
walking in, and I did all the shows. I did when Kenny Chesney came to town or whoever it was back then, and I walked in there, and there were just all these beautiful women piled on top of each other, and I was like, "Yeah, they got something going on
It's a good
right
time
here."
to be alive.
Because you know the old rule at a bar or nightclub: when you get the women there, the men will follow.
Yeah.
You know, you ain't
Funny-
gonna do anything else.
It's
you
funny
know?
how that works.
Yeah. I mean, I literally took over the merch and everything. We were doing about 20 grand of merch a year, something like that, which is good for a local band. But I literally took over. I said, I'm going to take us over and I'm going to gear everything towards girls. 200, and I think that first year we did 222,000
I believe it.
in merch
I believe it.
Wow.
and hard cash. And
It's a beautiful thing.
I witnessed it, man. They were the hottest thing in town for a couple years there. They really were. I mean, you guys would. I mean, Tim McGraw. Or let me use Kenny Chesney as an example. And Kenny Chesney's towards the end of his run right now, but he's 55 years old. By the way, we're talking about ages.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, nothing wrong with it. But he's going to put like
Holy
40
shit.
or 50,000 people in Heinz Field. But he hasn't been here in 4 years.
Right.
These guys were putting 500 to 1,500 in a bar Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and then do it again next weekend.
Yeah.
Now they would because, and I think Froggy helped a lot with this because of our regional approach. But they would go from Uniontown to Newcastle to Butler.
we were
to
pretty
Pittsburgh.
strategic about,
Yeah.
you know, it was
Wheeling.
myself, Chris, and Dave that ran the band. And, you know, Dave and I had a pretty strong business background, you know, marketing and sales. And that, and Chris had a drive too, you know, and that's, it just worked, you know.
You guys would strategically use the Pittsburgh area,
We
which
would.
is a big area.
We would,
Oh,
we
shit.
would strategically play, like, make sure it was like one night in Uniontown, one night in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Then to go to Newcastle.
Yeah, Butler.
Or Ohio,
Yeah.
you know, or West Virginia. So we wouldn't play in the same market maybe for another 30, 45 days, to where it
But
was
y'all
a
were so
once.
hot right then, though. When you came back, there were people ready to go out and see it.
Well, that's another thing too. It didn't matter
Yeah.
because they'd come to West Virginia.
You'd see the same people.
Yeah, you'd see the same people because
That's crazy.
they just started following us religiously, no
Yeah.
matter where we were. Now, this is before the DUI stuff
Yeah.
got heavy in 2009, But I remember going to the Big E. We played at the Big E in Massachusetts at the fair up there, and there must have been 50 of our fans that came.
From
I believe
Pittsburgh.
it. Followed you up there.
They followed us up there. It's just
People
it
got
goes-
along
it
for the
goes-
ride.
Yeah, like you watch that WQED documentary about us, like that. All that is just surreal, like how it happened.
Is that still happen today though? Like
That's what I was talking about before.
Yeah.
I don't.
it's a different.
I don't think it's a different kind of machine today. That's why I think even as THW, people come see us still because of who we were, and I get it. We go on the road, like we're only playing one show in Pennsylvania. Or, I'm sorry, in this area. That's Fayette County Fair. We're headlining on August 4th. From there, I mean, we're doing all these big fairs, like in Maryland. We're doing the Crawford County Fair. We're doing a bunch in Ohio,
Right.
and where else? West Virginia. But we're playing covers, and I'm okay with that, because now it's about entertaining.
Yeah, you're a different stage of your career
It's
too.
a different stage. We're on the backside of it, we could go probably play it. We just signed again with Variety Attractions. That's who used to book Poverty Neck. George Moffett took us under his wing back then. He goes, "You guys remind me of Alabama when I had Alabama," because he did the same thing for them. And they were booking us 60 fairs a year.
Damn.
I mean, we were playing everywhere. But we were doing 260 plus shows a year.
That was amazing. It was amazing to watch.
That's a lot.
But I think about things, and Jeff and I will be talking. Jeff and I are the only two original guys left in the band, and we drive together all the time. And just to some of the stuff we accomplished, you forget that you forgot about it because it just happened so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, we were the only country band to ever enter the Rock Challenge in Pittsburgh, let alone to win it.
It's nuts.
And they played
That's nuts.
They played that song I wrote, "Born to Be Free," on WDBE for a whole year. So
It was awesome.
There
We
was-
played it too.
there was a lot of pissed off rock bands.
I would think so.
Yeah, because
Oh, well.
in the rock world, that's a huge. I don't know if you remember that, like a graffiti. That was a huge.
Oh yeah.
If you made it to the Rock Challenge, that was a huge.
I remember.
You guys were just moving the needle like no one else in town was. It was just the fact,
Well, I mean, there's been big guys that come out of Pittsburgh, Dan and Shay, but they didn't do it here. They didn't grow it here.
yeah.
They grew it in Nashville.
And listen, I've only been here 20 years. Obviously, Gabby Barrett.
Yeah.
You guys, trying to think of other people locally. Corbin Hanner, Donnie Iris.
Yeah.
It's not a long list of musicians like around here. I mean, this is a sports town.
Yeah.
But, I feel like there are more people in the music industry that are from this area that are becoming very successful. And you guys were definitely that. I can tell you that Froggy, the launch of Froggy, when we were kind of gaining traction, we started playing the Poverty Neck Hillbillies on the radio, and a lot. That helped us. That really helped us become part of this town. And we were just lucky because the other stations in town were corporately owned, and they just wouldn't play them.
Well, they didn't get it.
Yeah,
They didn't get it because they weren't here.
Yeah.
They were getting a set playlist.
Who's this band in Pittsburgh? They're in New York City. You know what I mean? No, we'll just play whatever everybody.
The value of local radio.
That was a pretty cool moment for us to jump on that train to put all of our eggs in, because we did. We put all the eggs in your basket, in Froggy's basket, so to say.
We were playing them as much as anybody else we played on the radio. And we were playing like One Night in New Orleans, Mr. Right Now, Born to Be Free. I still remember Hillbilly State of Mind.
Yeah.
I remember we played those songs a lot. And it helped. And here's the best part. It helped us and it helped them.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a two-way avenue, And it just, those days are gone. Like, I mean, we sold like close to 80,000 CDs before we even signed our record deal. And
Damn.
that was out of the back of our truck.
Wow.
Now I couldn't sell 5 CDs if you paid me.
Well, that's a whole nother topic. Like if the record industry, like selling CDs was like most of their margin.
Yeah.
So when CDs became not a thing anymore,
Yeah.
they had to kind of reinvent themselves.
Well, here's one thing that we did do that it was kind of sly on our part. You know, we said, well, hey, why don't we put all of our ticketed events through Ticketmaster? So what? There's a surcharge on it, but we knew that SoundScan, they watched that.
Sure.
Everybody in Nashville watched that.
No, don't.
Well, then Frank would get all these calls. Hey, who the hell's this band? You know, getting all these spins on the station. Who's this band putting 2,000 people in a seat for $35? You know, at the amphitheater, we did 5,600 people, or maybe even 6,500 people. It was. I can't remember what the sellout
I was
was
there for both of
Yeah.
them. There was a sea of, remember in I think they still have the place, right? In Station Square, they had an amphitheater.
I
The
think
Clarks
it's-
would
I think
play it.
It's where I think that's where the soccer team.
That's
plays.
where the soccer arena is now.
Well,
I
they
remember
filled
that.
that up multiple times.
Damn.
And Froggy was the only station there. Nobody else was.
Yeah.
Everybody else was ignoring them.
Even
and it
the
was,
Pepsi Roadhouse.
Oh.
We sold out the Pepsi Roadhouse like 5 times.
Oh yeah, Saddle Ridge and Station Square. I mean, that was what 2,000 or 3,000 people that would fit in there
Yeah.
back in the day.
That big. Saddle Ridge can fit 2,000 people in there.
Yeah,
Well-
I bet you 2,000.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
pretty big. It was
Wow.
pretty big.
And now it's a parking lot. Now they're built. There's a townhomes now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The world's changing, Adam.
Hey, I got a question for you because my wife is a huge Office fan. What did it take to get you guys to have your bumper sticker in the office?
That's so funny. So my 12-year-old son has been watching The Office on Netflix, and he's like, "Dad, Froggy's in there." So our company used to own that Froggy that's in Wilkes-Barre. And that show was filmed in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, or based in that
So it was
town.
authentic then.
Yeah. We don't own that one anymore. We sold it probably, I don't want to get the year wrong, but in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
The owner of our company has a trademark of the Froggy. That's his baby. You know, but anyway, long story short, they just put it in there. We didn't do anything.
Really?
Yeah, they were just like, we're in Wilkes-Barre and Froggy's the #1 station, so they put the bumper sticker on the wall. And my son even told me the other day, I remember I told you I didn't watch a lot of pop culture stuff, which is a shame. He goes, "Dad, they talk about Froggy a lot." He goes, the Steve Carell character was like, "Call the news, call Froggy." He was just telling me that the other day. We were driving to Myrtle Beach. He was in the back. He goes, "Hey, they just told him to call Froggy."
That's awesome.
I'm like, I should be playing that on my show.
Yeah,
It's 20 years late, but I can get it in there. You know?
I'll tell you what, The Office is still.
I gotta watch. I've never watched one.
You've never watched The Office?
I didn't either.
Here's the thing. It's sort of like a hit or miss because I started watching it after it was popular because my wife is just she'll watch
Addicted.
that constantly.
Addicted, yeah.
She'll watch the same shows like 3 or 4 different times.
And it wasn't 20 years ago, right? It's about 15, like 05 to 2010 or something like that.
Yeah,
so, okay.
it wasn't that long ago, so it's still pretty relevant. And it's now you go to Netflix.
It's
and
pretty
watch it
irreverent,
all.
right? I mean, it's like they could never film that today, right?
No, definitely not. It's not culture.
Yeah, Seinfeld.
Appropriate.
Seinfeld wouldn't work today.
Oh,
either.
absolutely
Oh,
not.
God, no.
Nope.
Hey, but when we were launching Froggy in Pittsburgh, it didn't hurt that was like the #1 show in television. And
Yeah.
they were talking
Yeah.
Froggy.
That's
Timing
why I
was-
was thinking, like,
timing
boy,
was
I
great.
bet you that definitely helped.
Yo,
like,
sure.
You know.
Well, that's funny. You know, like you're talking about Seinfeld. I could watch Seinfeld all
Me
day
too.
long.
Is it still as funny when you watch it now?
Yeah,
it is.
there's certain things that
Yeah.
aren't as funny. Kramer always gets me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could never
made
ever
that
find another.
No. It was the collection of people.
Yeah.
It was like because Jerry Seinfeld really wasn't a funny part of that show to me. It was really
No, he
it was
wasn't.
really about the
It
other.
was
He
people.
more
of the
George and
anchor.
Kramer.
Yeah, he was the anchor that brought you back
Yeah.
down. You know,
Did
it
you
got
watch?
real
Did
crazy.
you watch it?
He was the victim. So in the 90s, I was in college. I wasn't watching that at all. I could care less. Seinfeld, that's what the old people were watching. You know what I mean?
You're learning about
I
the birds and
actually
bees.
watched
Old
the-
people. I'm 2 years older than him.
Yeah. The soup
Fucker.
the soup Nazi episode
Yeah.
that came out in 1995. I know this because
good year.
I was on my couch in 2015 with my wife, and we watched it. It came on like after the news, and I text my dad, "Hey, I just finally watched the soup Nazi episode, and I just saw that it came out 20 years ago." My dad was like, you're a jerk or whatever. You know? Like, better late than never. That was pretty funny. You know?
Back in the line.
No, it's over you.
So in the last 10 years, I've watched it some, and I think I agree. That's one thing I do like about today's culture. I didn't watch Seinfeld in the 90s, but I can watch it now, and it's still funny. The Office came. I could go watch it right now, but it's great.
Yeah, it probably is
There's
good.
like
The Office is like, I think it kind of like hit with Seinfeld back in the day as well. The Office is sort of like the embarrassing funny. Like you're like, I don't know.
We've been watching the little.
Is it cringy funny?
Yes, cringy funny. It's a good way
the
to
pranks
put it,
they play on Dwight. Like I've watched some of those online. I haven't watched the whole episode.
Oh yeah,
but those are funny.
I know.
They made him seem like he was in the Matrix. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't watch any of it.
Dwight's like the goober in
We
the
should
office.
probably- we should
He's
probably
gullible.
watch
I know who
thing.
he is. Yeah.
You would like it. It's especially if you like Seinfeld. It's literally
It's very
like
it's dry humor. Yeah,
yes, and the Steve Carell who plays
The manager,
Michael. He's very cringe, sort of embarrassing, funny.
It's
You're
almost like watching a 40-year-old virgin
yeah. Well,
play that
All
role.
the time.
It's
Yeah.
honestly, it's the same character almost.
Yeah.
You know, just in an office and sort of professional setting. You know?
Yeah.
But it probably one of the last few sort of, I guess you can consider it a sitcom or something, where it's just like one set.
But it was a weird sitcom because it always flat. It was kind of like when people's attention spans weren't that long. They kept it moving really
Hey, that's
quick.
a great point of The Office. So if we go back 20 years, remember like MTV with, what was their show, Big Brother, or shows where you would see some show, but then people were getting interviewed about it. Oh, yeah, that was... So on The Office, the show's happening
the same way.
but then they go to a cut where
They're being interviewed.
They're being interviewed
So,
about the show.
it's a series, a TV series,
It
in
lends
a
like a-
reality TV
Setting, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And it obviously worked.
No, it was its own unique
I
style
think
of
Steve Carell
comedy.
won a lot of.
and-
They won a lot of awards on.
yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did.
Why did it ultimately end? Because it didn't have a long run. Were they canceled because of
It went
Probably
content-
because Steve Carell had movie opportunities.
Yes. Well, no, I believe Steve Carell wanted to move on. Like it
Okay.
was sort of
It'd
holding
run
his
it.
career back. So, and then that was eventually, I think he got into the very next movie when he stopped that was a movie I was in, which was Foxcatcher.
Yeah.
So he played the DuPont in Foxcatcher.
I never
Okay.
saw
Which is a
that. That's
very-
with Channing Tatum, the boxer, right?
Yeah, he was
Well,
in
he's
he was
a
in the movie.
wrestler.
Okay.
I fought Channing Tatum at the end.
I should see
so-
that now.
Yeah. I
Are
mean,
there any sex scenes in it before I go watch it?
No.
You didn't have sex
No.
with Steve Carell, did you?
Channing Tatum was humping his face.
Son, that's not something you want to do on a first date right there. Dad, they're just wrestling. Oh, my bad, son.
Hey, I know that guy.
That's called the headlock. He's good. You're fine.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Guys, you have fun?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I can't thank you enough for doing this.
I don't even know what we talked about was relevant to what we were supposed to talk about.
No. This is we had.
We
no,
talked about sex way
had-
more than I
we
thought
had
we
no
were.
agenda. We had no agenda.
It's always a good time, though.
Do it.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah,
do it
that
again.
was awesome.
We're gonna do it again.
Yeah, for sure.
I really appreciate it more than you know. All right, gents. Before you go, like just they can always catch you everywhere. You're the biggest social media star in my sphere. So you want to catch Danger? He's on the air.
I'm Danger. Since you said Instagram's number one, I'm Danger Media on Instagram.
Danger Media
on the
Instagram.
radio, if anyone still has that. Which, by the way, we just did like research, and I guess like 90% of people listen to radio in their car. So that's as long as cars still have the radio, that's where we're going. But
gas prices is hurting.
yeah. God dang it. So we're 104.3, 94.9 on around the Pittsburgh area.
Danger
Froggy.
show every day from
2 to
2
7.
to 7.
That's right.
That's right. Monday through
5
Friday.
hours of that little ginger
Ginger boy. No, it wasn't
leprechaun.
Danger
I used to
boy.
call him leprechaun.
Radio's got to keep working though. We got to work to stay relevant. You got to keep in the
And
car.
they can reach you on the Instagrams too, right?
At Adam Milstead. I also have another channel called Straight Yacked.
Yacked.
Yes,
Straight Yacked.
STR8_YAKD Straight Yacked. So that's where I do all the kayak fishing stuff. So yeah, you can reach me there.
Yeah. And you're gonna see him in the UFC here shortly too, but we won't let that. We won't let that out of the bag. But that's just stay tuned for that. And how in the hell are they gonna reach you now? You're all over the place.
It's Abbondanza Fishing, and then the band is THW Band 1.
I like how you abbreviated an easy thing to say the hillbilly way, but you're like, but spell out Abbondanza Fishing. Jesus Christ! How about AA Fishing? I'm going to help this guy right now. Is that for drunks? No, my name's Abbondanza.
Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Number one in your hearts, number one on the charts.
I can rename it. I'll call it Fishing Anonymous.
Can you reserve that domain right now before we put this out there? Thank you.
Call Google.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, and again, thanks. You got together for me in the beginning and supported me, and I'm glad you came together in a group setting. It's much more fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll do it again.
Definitely.
Thanks again. All right, friends, we're out.
Thank you.
Salute.